Hello and welcome to the Kia Oval for the annual Pride fixture, this year against Lancashire. It's a double-header here in South London today, with the women in action first, while the men play Sussex later this evening. Before we get going, Sam Keir has been down on the ground chatting to yesterday's match winner Paige Scholfield, but first, the news from the toss.
Well, I'm out here in the middle on a blistering hot day at the Kia Oval, a perfect day for a double-header of cricket. And to start things, of course, we have the women's match between Surrey and Lancashire Thunder. Bryony Smith, the Surrey captain, is with Ellie Threlkeld, the Lancashire captain. Off screen, we have our umpires, Surindiram Shanmugam and Rob White, as well as our match referee, Sarah Bartlett. So everyone is here, present and correct. Bryony has the coin, Ellie is going to call. Heads is the call. It's a heads. We'll have a quick chat with Ellie first. Ellie, welcome to the Kia Oval. You have won the toss. What are you going to do?
We're going to have a ball today. Looks like a pretty good pitch, so hopefully, we can put them in some pressure and defend in the second innings.
2 wins in a row now to get yourselves up and running for a big couple of games against the top 2 teams in the table. Everyone full of confidence?
Yeah, definitely. I think we've got some good momentum leading into today, so hopefully we can put a good performance in and get another win on the board.
Any changes to your team?
No, same team.
Same team. Lovely stuff. Thank you very much indeed. So there we go. We have Bryony here. Bryony, you've lost the toss. What would you have done?
We were looking to have a bowl, but actually the pitch looks good, so I'm happy to have that.
Things going really well. Another tight game at Hampshire yesterday, but one you came through, and that's becoming a bit of a trend. Thanks a lot down to the finisher, Paige Scholfield, but also some great team performance, some great fielding from the team, and some great captaincy from you. Things are going very nicely.
Yeah, definitely. Proper team performance yesterday. I thought we batted okay. Some good, strong partnerships in the middle, which got us through. But our fielding and bowling was definitely what we were best at yesterday.
We're approaching sort of the halfway point in the group stage. You guys are really well placed. How do you keep that momentum going?
I think that we just have to look after ourselves. It's obviously a bit of a hectic schedule, but we've got a few days off after this, so we look to recharge and just keep taking every game as it comes.
And what about you guys? Any changes?
Yes, Tash, Farron and Sophia Dunkley are back in.
Lovely stuff. Thank you so much, Bryony. Well, there we go. The news from the middle is that Lancashire have won the toss. They're going to bowl. Well, on this beautiful day at the Kia Oval, it's my great pleasure to be joined by Paige Scholfield from the Surrey women's team. Paige, a fabulous start to the campaign. We're almost halfway through. The team top of the table with just that one defeat. Mood in the camp must be absolutely excellent.
Yeah, obviously we're very happy with how we've started the campaign. So hopefully we can keep that momentum going through and finish it off with bringing home a trophy potentially.
Yeah, you mentioned that word momentum, which is a cliche, but in T20 cricket everyone talks about it. We've had some really close games, but winning seems to be a bit of a habit in those clutch moments.
Yeah, I think we pride ourselves on playing our game. We've worked all through winter on those big finishes because games are a lot closer now, teams are getting better. So yeah, it's going to come down to the last over, and yeah, we pride ourselves on trying to finish the game off.
Now, I've heard you describe this season as the finisher because you've had a couple of games where things have really been tight, and you've come good with that 6 against today's opposition, Lancashire, up at Old Trafford. Then last night or yesterday afternoon with that 11 off the last over. Are you someone who gets nervous, or are you just in the zone in those moments?
Yeah, I actually get really nervous, and the girls laugh at me for it because they're like, "Oh, you don't look it," but I do. I get really nervous. But I guess you just get in that zone, and it's UV the bowler, and luckily I've come off the other end this year. So yeah, hopefully I can continue to win games and not let it get that far into the game.
Well, exactly. I mean, the good thing is you are finishing rather than sort of coming in early. A word for the top order, particularly Danny, who is in great form. Yeah,
Dan's had an unbelievable start to the T20 campaign this year. She's a high-class player. She always has been. I think she always will be till the day she finishes. So we're very lucky to have her at top and she's getting the bulk of the runs really. And then, like you said, we come in and try and finish off the game if we need to. But yeah, we've been very lucky to have Dan up top and the way she's played.
Do you enjoy that finisher role, or on occasion would you like to be coming in a bit earlier?
Yeah, I don't really have much of a choice. I'd like to not be stressed all the time, but yeah, it's fun. It's part of the game, part of the job. So yeah, I enjoy it.
And then let's look ahead to today's game. Obviously, you mentioned silverware. Lancashire, the team that have won the one bit of silverware so far. You guys were at that finals day. I guess this would be a good statement to make it 2-2 in the blast against them.
Yeah, obviously we fell short in the FA Cup, we call it. But yeah, we know what we want to do as a team, and today we'll bring that through to the game and hopefully come away with a win and just keep, like I said, keep that momentum going through this comp and try and finish off and get that one better in this comp.
Well, going well so far. Thanks so much for your time and have a great game today.
Thank you guys, thank you.
Thank you to Sam and Paige there. So, a recap of the news from the middle. Lancashire have won the toss and elected to bowl. The teams, well, Surrey have made 3 changes. And we'll highlight for you here. Sophia Dunkley, Tash Farrant and Tilly Courtine-Coleman have come in for Alice Capsey, Danny Gregory and Kalia Moore. Lancashire, the visitors, well, they're unchanged. Quite unusual in this competition, given how thick and fast the matches come. They've actually had a bit of a break. 5 whole days since their last fixture. Luxury. We'll see the team there. The player I want you to keep an eye out for, with that plane next to her name on screen, Alana King, the Aussie superstar, leg spinner phenomenon, will be here at the Kia Oval, hoping to bowl her side to victory. It's Pride Day here in South London, an annual event here at the Kia Oval. For this double header today, we've got Surrey versus Lancashire in the women's this afternoon, and then Surrey men will be taking on Sussex men later this afternoon. I'm Cameron Ponsonby. I'm joined by former Surrey legend and former Surrey captain, Kirstie White. No, she doesn't. She only wants legend, not captain. Kirstie, how are you? How are you looking forward to today's fixture against Lancashire?
Yeah, afternoon. Well, I captained a few times, but very much looking forward to this afternoon's fixture. Beautiful sunny day, hot day here in South London. I think we're set for a big game. Big lineups on show. Surrey backing all of their England players today. Obviously, Capsey having a break, and like you said, Alana King hopefully brings a little bit of excitement into the middle. Kate Cross has been absolutely firing with the ball as well, so expect a little bit of movement up front from her as well. So, yeah, set for a big game today.
Well, just on your screen there was Bryony Smith and Danny White-Hodge ready to go. They'll be walking through the guard of honour provided by the youngsters there out on the outfield. Danny White-Hodge has been superb. Arguably, I don't even know if it's arguably the player of the competition so far in 7 innings this competition. Hello, we've got fireworks in town. Flamethrowers, smoke, rainbow effects everywhere. They took me and Kirstie by surprise there. We do have a smattering of fans here this afternoon. I imagine the crowd will begin to fill up over the course of the afternoon as people are able to log off from work halfway through the day and make their way down to the Oval. And it is a stunning day here. The sun is out. It is boiling hot. I wasn't sure whether to go with sweltering or boiling there. We've gone with boiling. And it could be a lot of runs on show.
Yeah, it's a very hot, sticky day. That walk down the Harleyford Road from the train station was definitely a hot one for sure. Lots of fans outside waiting for the gates to open at 1 p.m. Hopefully the smoke clears in front of us so we can actually provide some meaningful commentary on the game. But yeah, going back to what you were saying about Danny White-Hodge, I think she's top of the MVP leaderboard in the PCA at the moment. So I think, what was it, seven games she's played, five of those she's scored 50 or more, with only two games she's not scored 50.
Well, it's not just Surrey who have a star-studded lineup today. Lancashire have a few phenomenal players as well. We mentioned Alana King at the top. Also keep an eye out for Kate Cross and re-England international Emma Lamb. She scored so many runs this season in the red of Lancashire that she's forced her way back into that England setup. She's been fantastic throughout. The smoke is almost clearing. Me and Kirstie will do our best to tell you what's happening. There is just a low level of fog and haze currently sitting over the Oval. Looks like we're going to have Sophie Morris to open the bowling with some spin. And that's 4. What a start from Bryony Smith. And what a start for Surrey. Almost perfect. It could only be one better if it'd gone for 6.
Yeah, true. No, that's a gift, isn't it? That was definitely a loosener there for Sophie Morris. I think the screen might say Smale, but I believe it's Sophie Morris bowling. Let's see if she can adjust her line for the second ball.
bold. She does adjust her line. This time a lot straighter, and it accounts for Smith. The highs and lows of T20 cricket on show in the first two deliveries here. A boundary to start proceedings, a wicket to follow up, and Bryony Smith has to go.
Oh, I think that might be a commentator's curse. Or, well, it depends whose team you're on, I suppose. But
Commentator's blessing for Lancashire.
Blessing for Lancs, yeah. But seemed, not quite sure what decision Bryony Smith made there. That seemed to come through a little bit quicker onto her. I think it's a fresh wicket today. A little bit of grass on top, but it's like it's skidded on. And unfortunately, I think Bryony Smith's gone to play that off the back foot where maybe she should have played off the front foot. It's gone through her and taken that middle stump straight out of the ground.
No, it's an excellent point Kirstie raises. We are on a fresh wicket, and you can see that tinge of green on your screens, and that ball has just skipped off the surface and gone straight through Bryony Smith, where she thought she had time in getting on the back foot. She was incorrect. But no bother for Surrey, who's in at number 3, but Sophia Dunkley. She had a fine winter, then summer. She'd almost reinvented herself a little bit as a player, had a new batting technique, a new stance. It's been serving her very well, and she's been away on international duty, but she's back in the Surrey setup today.
I actually thought that Dunkley was going to be opening the batting, just from seeing her warming up, and she basically is.
That's pretty much the same delivery that Bryony Smith had. This time Dunkley in behind it. We have a dot ball. This is Dunkley's first match of the Vitality Blast. That's what happens when you've been away with England.
Yeah, these games have been coming thick and fast. This is Surrey's third game in 4 days.
These are really tight lines from Morris. 3 dots in a row to Dunkley after opening ball boundary, and then the wicket of Bryony Smith. This time she's away off the mark. She tucks the ball into the leg side, brings to a close. An eventful opening over. Surrey 5 for 1 after the first. Yesterday, Surrey were in action away to Hampshire, where they won off the last ball. Paige Scholfield hitting a boundary to just get Surrey over the line. You don't live too far from the ground. Did you make your way down yourself, or was it?
No, I didn't. No, I was watching from home. Nervy actually towards the end. It definitely is a game that ebbed and flowed, particularly off that last ball. I was definitely sat on the edge of my seat, couldn't really watch. But obviously in Paige Schofield, Surrey trust, so...
I very embarrassingly was working from home, and I was bemoaning the lack of a live stream. I couldn't believe it. I was like, this is unacceptable. They don't have the live stream up and running. And just as the match finished, I went, oh, I was on Sky. Got ya. So I could have been watching in crisp HD. Not as crisp as our live stream, however. Well, Kate Cross. Talk about the internationals that are on show today. And here we have 2 going head-to-head. Cross to Dunkley. And that is a hack down the ground. Not the most elegant shot from Dunkley, but one of the most effective. Almost bullying shot, forcing Kate Cross back where she came from. And that's 4 runs.
Yeah, she's just kind of bunted that back past the bowler. She's got so much power in that bottom hand that she just kind of almost shovels it. Danny White kind of masks it. She jumps over it between her legs. And it's a great way to start the over. Let's just hope the second ball doesn't follow suit from over 1. Well, let's hope for Surrey it doesn't anyway.
Well, it was pretty similar to the Morris delivery. Off the back foot, this time defended into the ground. Dunkley had so much success over the winter, where amongst what was, to be frank, a disastrous Ashes tour for England, she played a wonderful innings at the Sydney Cricket Ground where she hit straight so well. We've seen that already on show today. Single tucked away into the leg side.
Yeah, and Kate Cross is bowling with some confidence as well. So that's just sailed over the head of Ellie Threlkeld. Slip in place, although not sure if the slip's staying in for Danny White-Hodge. Doesn't look like it. So cover is going out and a short third coming into the ring. So your two fielders out in the power play here. A square leg who is bang on, just in front, if you will. And then a deep backward point. They've clearly done their homework on Danny White-Hodge, knowing that that is a very large area that she plays through, particularly in the first part of her innings.
That's just snuck down the leg side. White-Hodge's first ball on strike. If you want the numbers to explain just how dominating White-Hodge has been this competition, 7 matches, 5 half-centuries, an average of 72, a strike rate of 160. She scored more than double the runs of the next nearest Surrey player. And there will be a couple more to get her off the mark. Hand stops the ball going all the way to the boundary, so it's just 2 so far.
Yeah, good hand there by that fielder at cover. So Eve Jones does the chasing to collect that. Ooh,
there is that hand, that homework on display. Short third in place for Danny White-Hodge rather than the slip.
Yeah, that was a big, thick outside edge, actually. Had they kept the slip in place, that probably would have sailed past for 4. So just proves how important those scouting meetings are in the lead up to your games.
Well bowled by Kate Cross to finish. Just defended into the leg side by White-Hodge. 13 for 1 after 2.
Yeah, Cross hitting the crease hard there. She's bowling with some good pace. What's been really nice to see in this competition is just how competitive every single player has been. In this new era of international cricket with Charlotte Edwards at the helm, there are lots of players standing up and saying, just remember me, I'm here. Kate Cross has obviously been a stalwart figure for England for a long time and had a few injuries, but is coming back and has really performed just the way that Lancashire would have wanted her to this season, as we see a change in bowling at the pavilion end with Tara Norris.
Well, it's something that speaks to the strength of the competition, that we do have so many international superstars playing. But the leading run scorer is the uncapped Ellen McCacken down at Hampshire, and the leading wicket taker is the uncapped Esme McGregor at Essex. So players are stepping up and performing. Norris into Dunkley. And there we have that power on display again, down the ground.
Almost the mirror image of the first ball of the previous over from Kate Cross, just muscled down the ground, as she so often does, Sophia Dunkley.
Well, we'll give her a little bit more elegance points for that one, because it just went to the offside of the stumps. But it's not your traditional straight drive by any stretch of the imagination.
Yeah, slight shimmy down the ground. I think a feature of Sophia Dunkley's drives is that she's not a traditional high elbow driver.
Well bowled. And it's got her in trouble on that occasion. That bottom hand came through, an inside edge, and it's rolled back onto the stumps. And this game is following a familiar pattern. Boundary first ball of the over, wicket second. And just as Dunkley looked to be ticking, Surrey have just been pegged back again. 17 for 2 after 2.2 overs.
Yeah, I wonder if she was just overly aggressive there. She's really thrown her hands through at that one. It almost, I'd like to see the replay, but I think it was a full toss. That maybe he's just got a little bit low on her, or just swung at the last minute. Let's just take a look at this replay and see exactly what's happened here. Yeah, full toss. She's just shimmied down the ground, but lost a bit of shape as she's done so, fallen away from the ball, and in doing so is bottom edged onto her stumps.
Oh, Dunkley cannot believe it. It was a full toss from Norris, and with all the fielders in the ring on the offside in the power play, probably was thinking 4 as the ball was coming down towards her. Instead, it's the end of her innings.
Well, for all intents and purposes, a full toss outside off stump should be 4, let's be honest. But yeah, just losing a little bit of shape as she's come down the track.
Well, a high-octane start here in South London. Kira Chatley has arrived at the crease. And we've had a lot of action. We haven't had much Danny White-Hodge yet, so something to look forward to for the spectators and for those watching and listening along at home. Just a dot ball to start life for Kira Chatley.
Yeah, Danny White-Hodge not had a lot of time to recover from yesterday's game. They started at 3, but Surrey batted in the second innings, and White-Hodge scored, I think it was 60-odd in her innings. So less than 24 hours ago, they were out at the Utility Bowl playing against Hampshire. Find themselves here at the Oval now.
Confusion in the middle.
Oh, gosh.
There's a mix-up.
Oh, no.
It's going to be out. Chatley has gone. Yes, no, wait, sorry. Both Chatley went. Well, first of all, Chatley went. Then White-Hodge started going. By the time White-Hodge had started running, Chatley had turned back. When she saw White-Hodge going for a second time, well, they shook hands in the middle, apologised. And this is a bit of a disaster of a start for Surrey. They're now 3 down inside the first 3 overs.
Yeah, it's the curse of losing 3 wickets in the power play. Can often be the death of a team here. So this will be a big positive here for Lancs, who've been on top. They've been really, really thorough in the field.
We'll see the replay here.
It's definitely one, but I think Kira may have set off without a call and thought Danny was following her. And I think if you were to ask Kira Chatley if she's an indecisive kind of girl, her answer might be, I'm not sure.
There we go. That was a fridge magnet that my grandma had. I remember when I was 8, I found that so funny. I remember the first time I read that, I could not believe it.
I'm quite impressed that you got it when you were 8.
A very intelligent man. And boy, more to the point. Right, Grace Harris is in the middle. This is the good news about whenever Surrey lose a wicket. There's always another superstar to come out. And they'll need all the runs from their Aussie overseas on this occasion because, well, they're in trouble here. 3 down. The second match at the Oval in a row where they've been in a precarious situation. They're 1 for 3 against the Blaze. So if anything, this is way better. Well, Grace Harris has just backed away there because I can't remember what the band's name is, but the song Shut Up and Dance With Me was still playing as Tara Norris was running in.
I was actually still enjoying it.
I was as well. I was like, I like this idea.
to the point where I thought, why has she just pulled away? Is there someone moving behind the sight screen? Oh, no, it's just the music. OK, here we go.
Beautiful drive up the ground, and she might get 4 for it. In fact, she will. That was nothing more than a push from Grace Harris, but the timing of the shot meant it just beat the reach of mid-off, and she gets 4 to open her account.
It's just power straight down the ground there. Like you said, nothing more than just a punch, a push. It actually looked like mid-off was about to stop it. Maybe they'll feel that they should have.
It's just snuck underneath the fielder's hands there. Walk the Moon was the name of the band, in case you're wondering. Appeal for OBW. No interest from the umpire, but Lancashire liked it. And at the end of 3 overs, the score is 21 for 3.
Yeah, I was just quite interested in their fine leg for that delivery. They were very, very straight. They were almost like a fly wicketkeeper. You can just see them in the corner of the screen there. They're so fine.
Well, I can hope you can hear it through your TV screens. Walk the Moon is back on. It's a great day for Walk the Moon here in South London.
Yeah, one of the things I enjoy the most actually about doing commentary on a T20 day is that the tunes in between mean that we can have a little bit of a dance while we
Well, it looked like...
wait for the next bowler to come.
Beg your pardon. It looked like the girls from Sunbury Cricket Club are in town. Day out, they were forming the Guard of Honour as well, and also helping out the DJs in the booth. They're playing the horn, getting the music pumping as well. Grace Johnson into the attack. Cut away from White-Hodge firmly for 1 run. Well, she must be a bit confused at the moment, White-Hodge, because she's hardly played the game yet. The match is kind of running away from her. She's seen 3 wickets fall. She's seen 19 other runs scored, and she's only faced 4 deliveries herself.
Yeah, I'm sure that won't faze her. I'm sure she's just probably eager to get on strike, but having Grace Harris at the other end will certainly settle that situation for her as well.
Well, it's another beautiful shot from Grace Harris. No run on this occasion, straight to mid-off. But after 3 balls, she's looking in good touch.
Yeah, her drives are just effortless, aren't they? They kind of just flow off the bat. The speed the ball leaves that bat is unbelievable.
Well, you've been very admiring of her bats.
I have. I'd love to get my hands on one, just to have a feel of bat on ball.
This time she looks to cut a ball that's very, very tight to the stumps. A little bit of in-movement from Johnson, who's overstarted well here. Just the 1 run from the first 3 deliveries.
Yeah, when I was watching the game yesterday, I think one thing that both teams struggled with at the Utilita was it was really difficult to play square. It was a kind of wicket that you had to play straight on, and a lot of wickets fell from trying to force those angles square of the wicket. So it'll be interesting to see how we adapt here today.
That's short and cut away this time from Harris. Just taking the outside half of the bat away down to that deep third area. And this kind of to and froing fixture continues. So, well, it's either a boundary or a wicket at the moment, and that one's a boundary for Surrey.
Yeah, that one split backward point and third perfectly. I would imagine it was almost equidistant from each fielder there, both looking at each other thinking, oh, I don't know who it's closer to, because I think it's right in the middle of us, gun barrel straight. Oof.
Well, that's almost bowled Harris. She'll get 4 runs for her troubles. That is very unfortunate for Johnson. That's an inside edge, as Harris has once again tried to force that cut shot from a delivery that's too straight. The inside edge is taking the ball past the stumps and all the way down to the boundary.
Oh, wow. Yeah, Johnson with her hands on her head thinking, how on earth has that missed the stumps? How can I be that unlucky? And I think we're all probably in agreement with you there.
It's been a big wicket for the 20-year-old Johnson. He's bowled well this competition so far, very economical, going at just 6.5 and over.
Yeah, much more watchful there. Just right below the eye line. Making sure that she's watching the ball all the way onto the bat there. A wise move, potentially, after finding the inside edge of the bat and the outside edge of the bat, but picking up 8 runs off of each, off those 2 deliveries.
Well, 4 overs gone here at the Kia Oval. The score is 30 for 3. I'm Cameron Ponsonby. I'm joined by former Surrey legend, Kirstie White. At some point, we'll have to drop the legend, but
Yeah.
we don't have to. We don't have to,
I don't
Kirstie.
think it's good for my ego, really.
As in, it's positive, continual. I think positive reinforcement is a good thing.
Oh, dear.
Have you seen there's some more murals out on the walls along the Harleyford Road?
I have, yes.
Seen one of Jamie Smith. It's current players though, so I think you'd be hard pushed to get your own face up there again. Well, for the first time.
I'm also not particularly good with a pen in hand, so I won't be creating my own.
Draw your own. Get the professionals to do it.
Says who?
I'd pay to watch that. Jamie Smith with a spray can, a bucket of paint up against the wall. Tara Norris is back into the attack.
Oh, I had absolutely no idea where that went, Cam. No idea whatsoever.
I was waiting for a reason. We saw the ball kind of leave the bat aerially. We waited to see if cover or point was interested, but it just sliced away down to that fielder at deep backward point for a single. And Wyatt Hodge still only faced 5 balls so far this innings. 25 have been sent down. We're going to have a rejig of the field now that Harris is on strike. 2 fielders out on the boundary are deep square leg and deep mid wicket, so we're expecting Norris to bowl very straight at the moment to swing the ball back into the right-hander. She just gets a little bit wider and driven into the offside for no run.
Yeah, a little bit fortunate there. I don't think that was quite the delivery that she was hoping to bowl after making those field changes. Maybe got away with that slightly. Grace Harris driving that straight to extra cover.
Straight and 4.
Can't put a fielder there.
That is beautiful batting from Grace Harris. We've seen a number of delightful drives from the Aussie so far, and there was just that economy of movement on display there. Throwing her hands through a full-length delivery, and that bat does its job once again.
Yeah, timed beautifully. I think Tara Norris was almost in need of some shin pads there. I think there was a split second where she thought, maybe I'll put a leg out. Absolutely not. No chance.
It's a double ego boost for Grace Harris. 4 runs and a nutmeg of the bowler. She moves on to 16.
It's like changing the field here as well. So fine leg is coming super fine. Deep square leg. I'm calling it, Cam. I'm saying that there's going to be a bouncer incoming.
There it is. Well controlled by Harris. I think that's another moral victory to the batter there. Only 1 run. Her and Grace Harris and Kirstie White are on the same wavelength. Harris predicted it and pulled it neatly out to the boundary for a single.
So yeah, for Danny Wyatt-Hodge, this deep backward point is in play. And a deep square leg. So just 2 inside the ring behind the bat. 3rd and fine.
Well, they're going to scamper through for a quick single and they make it home comfortably. So would Tara Norris be looking to bowl a different line to these 2 batters, or is the shift in fielders where to Danny Wyatt-Hodge they have a fielder in the deep on the offside, to Grace Harris they have 2 on the leg side, more of a reflection of the batter's strengths as opposed to the change of the bowler's plan?
Yeah, I think, I don't know that Tara's plan will change too much in terms of how she's bowling, but Wyatt-Hodge is very good, even if you offer her a 4th stump line, at working through the offside, so it is that protection element. That's nudged nicely off the hip. Square leg coming around, but can't cut that off.
Well, the runs are flowing here for Surrey. After a bit of a wobble, they fell to 17 for 3, beg your pardon. These 2 are just getting their side up to a bit of a canter, and that felt like a very easy boundary, just tucked off the hip. Kind of expected, waiting for a fielder to swoop around and keep it to 2. But this outfield is fast, and there was no chance of stopping that. 5 overs gone. The score is 41 for 3.
Yeah, on a hot day like this, I think you'll be happy as a batter to score as many boundaries as possible. I think Grace Harris is dealing almost exclusively in boundaries here. Her run scoring shots, I think maybe she's had 1 single, and I think it was that bouncer out to square leg, and the rest have been boundaries.
Kate Cross back into the attack. Short and wide and cut. That won't beat the fielder. Interesting tactic from Lancashire to use Cross sparingly at the top of the innings. One would kind of expect often if there was any swing on offer with the new ball, you kind of want your premier bowler to be able to use it. But this may be a nod to the responsibility she has in this attack to maybe bowl her 4 overs individually throughout the course of the innings. I'm siding with you. I want to know what are in these bats. She is just lent on that Grace Harris, and it is flown up to long on.
Yeah, it's certainly coming out the screws today, isn't it? Yeah, I think with Kate, obviously she's the premier seam bowler here, and she's got the most experience. So using her sparingly, she'll definitely have a role to play at the death, as will Tara, probably in the middle overs once they come out of the power play. So yeah, I think it's potentially an as and when needed, just to tighten things back up.
Wyatt-Hodge goes big. That could land safe, and it does. Well, lifeline for Wyatt-Hodge, who was not in control of that shot at all. She's hardly got the strike this innings so far. 5.5 overs bowled. Wyatt-Hodge has only faced 8 deliveries. And again, an example of everyone having done their homework, because when Wyatt-Hodge did lose control of that shot, it was almost flying out to that fielder at that deep backward point.
Yeah, signs of frustration maybe at not facing as many deliveries as she would have liked.
The trampoline bats of Grace Harris in action again.
Yeah, I haven't seen the umpires put it through the back gauge yet. If I was an umpire, I'd certainly be having a little look.
That would make me laugh if it just wasn't regulation.
It's hot. It's hot. It's swollen.
There's White Hodge. Back to normal for DWH. 4 runs, her first boundary of this match. She moves on to 11. And finally, with only 1 ball of the power play left, she finds her straps and finds the boundary.
DWH, yeah, lovely pick up here. Just opens that front foot, allowing the hips to come through, hands, and then just take that over. Long on, really. DWH.
I think DWH works.
I like it. No, DW reminds me of...
Hey, Arthur.
Arthur, yeah.
Yeah.
No one liked DW. We all like DWH, though. Exactly. And that is true Danny White Hodge style. A boundary followed by a 1. And to get herself on strike the next day, which I think she's much in need of, isn't she?
Right, the power play's finished here at the Kia Oval. It's 50 for 3. Surrey are in a good spot.
And for the remainder of the innings, no more than 4 fielders permitted outside of the fielding.
So 50 up for Surrey. Just getting told off by my boss. What can you do? Put phones on Do Not Disturb and spam callers break through. That was terrible. That was actually very terrifying, turning over my left shoulder and seeing Jake.
Was it your mum asking what you want for tea?
It wasn't. Someone trying to sell me loans or car insurance or something. Rightio, Morris back into the attack.
Very effective the first over, hoping to pick up where she left off.
That's a dot ball. White Hodge fancied that immediately.
She's actually got quite a low arm action for, she's obviously bowls left arm round, but that left arm is actually, it's coming from quite low. It's quite slingy. It's almost a bit like a Georgia Adams, but from the left arm round.
Well, that's out. A huge wicket in the context of this match. White Hodge had decided she wanted to go after Morris, but Morris wins this encounter and potentially takes a big step to winning her team the match. I know that may sound early, but White Hodge has been so dominant in this competition, and to see the back of her for just 12 runs off 12 deliveries, it's a big, big wicket for Lancashire.
Yeah, that's a real shame there for Danny White Hodge. She clearly, you could see the frustration building from the last over where she came down the wicket to Kate Cross. Let's just take another look at this. That low arm action, it's kind of just straightened on her as well, just beating the outside edge of the bat. Ellie Threlkeld makes no mistake there, tidy behind the stumps.
That's a very good piece of bowling from Morris there, and an example of how quickly conditions can change. Bryony Smith was done on the inside as the new ball skidded on, beat bat and pad and clean bowled her. This time, only 5 overs later, Morris has got one to grip and beaten White Hodge on the outside edge. And well, Lancashire, not quite well on top, but I'd say ahead of this fixture. But yesterday's match winner for Surrey, Paige Scholfield, has come to the crease.
Yeah, came clutch yesterday for Surrey versus Hampshire of the last ball, and she certainly did that in the reverse fixture in the rain, where she absolutely crushed one over extra cover to get Surrey ahead on DLS and win the game. And she's away straight away.
Starts with a single. It's been a strange season for Paige Scholfield because she became the kind of hipsters cricketer over the winter. Where if you really knew your stuff, if you wanted to show off, you'd tell your mates, tell you he's a good player, Paige Scholfield. We came back this year and she's been batting in positions like this, a bit lower down the order, not facing as many balls as you'd expect her to. That's 6. Just short of a length from Morris, and so quick on her feet from Grace Harris. That was never in doubt. That's flown flat and into the stands.
Yeah, Alana King, not the tallest player back there, but even if she was, I don't think she had any chance of taking a catch there.
We haven't seen Alana King bowl. That's my main takeaway from that comment.
Yeah, 4 wickets gone down, and Alana King has not taken one of them. I think we might see her fairly soon.
Well, slight appeal for LBW. I don't think there was much interest from anyone involved. Too much. Have a look at the replay here. Well, that's the 6. That ball has hardly got up at all. But because of the length and because of how quick Harris was to latch onto that length, he was able to pull it away. Single to finish the over. 7 overs gone here. Score is 58 for 4. I'm Cameron Ponsonby, joined by Kirstie White. I imagine Lancashire, you often see kind of Afghanistan or kind of franchise teams would do this with Rashid Khan, where you go, if we don't have to play our trump card yet, we're not going to.
Yeah, absolutely. Because, you know, Grace Harris and Paige Scholfield, while they'll find it challenging to play Alana King, the lower order, I would imagine Ellie Threlkeld's thinking, if I take one more wicket, then I'm bringing Alana King in to just clear up.
Yeah.
Just to clear up, and that cause absolute chaos. Hopefully that's the case, and that she's not got any niggles that's holding her back from bowling.
Johnson back into the attack. Picked up. Does that beat the fielder? Yes, one bounce and over the rope. It's a long boundary out in that direction. It's a clean pickup from Harris. Rather quietly has motored onto 34 of 17 here.
Yeah, it's skipped away off of the training, the practice wickets there, just for one bounce, but that bounce has come up at around face height for that fielder in and around that deep mid-wicket.
Well, she's an imposing figure at the crease here, Harris, and you see her standing completely in front of her stumps. And luckily for her, she gets a bit of an inside edge on that one. Because, well, if you miss the ball in cricket and it hits your leg in front of the stumps, that's known as LBW, and you have to stop batting.
You have to stop.
Not allowed anymore.
Stop what you're doing. Yeah. What I was going to say is actually, with Grace Harris at the crease and scoring the boundaries that she has been, one of the biggest challenges of fielding in the Oval here is it's sometimes really difficult to pick the ball up from the seating.
Pulled hard behind square. 4 more. Harris is in the mood here. The fans are being treated to an exhibition of T20 batting. And we mentioned beforehand that she'd quietly moved on to 34. It's because until this moment, she'd be playing quite elegant shots. Drives down the ground, deft cuts behind points. And as of last over, she pulled the ball for 6. And now, well, we're seeing the power as well as the elegance of Grace Harris.
Here, is that 7 4s and 1 6 now? I don't know if that's updated yet, but she's certainly motoring.
Harris calls for 2. Scholfield says no, so they'll settle for the single.
Yeah, sometimes it's quite easy to forget that, you know, Harris has actually only been at the crease for, well, she's only faced 20 deliveries, so it can take a while. I mean, a player of her calibre, it doesn't take long for her to find her rhythm and get into her flow, but she's not faced that many deliveries, so to be striking at almost 200 is testament to just how class a player she is.
This does seem like a good batting wicket. When you see both batters pushing the ball and timing it so well up to long on, suggests pace in the wicket. Scholfield takes a single there up to long on.
Yeah, and this is something that this Surrey team are going to have to be aware of. You know, it is a good wicket. They can't afford to leave any runs out there being 4 wickets down. So there's a lot of responsibility on this pair's shoulders to pile on the runs here for Surrey.
Just a change up there from Johnson. It's a remarkable stance that Harris is taking against the young seamer. Covering all 3 stumps with her legs. Kind of think Steve Smith, but dial it up to 11. Right, 8 overs gone. The score is 69 for 4. And we have a very exciting cricket game in the making here. Lancashire feel not too far away. They can turn to Alana King, and turn to Alana King they do. She marks out her run-up now at the pavilion end, and she'll be able to bowl 4 of these remaining 12 overs. Lancashire will be thinking, if we can get one or both of these two, would have kind of broken the back of this Surrey batting lineup. But you say that, and then you remember that Alice Davis-Richards is in next.
Phoebe Franklin. There's plenty of batting still to come. I wonder if they will use Alana King here the way that they'd use Sophie Eccleston. So they might actually just give her a spell and say, right, just tie up the end, restrict, and let's see if we can just bring that run rate down.
Aussie to Aussie. Aussie. Yeah. Aussie to Aussie to begin, as Alana King bowls to Grace Harris. Really are spoilt with the talent on show here at the Kia Oval. 3 international cricketers dominating proceedings in the middle at the moment. Paige Scholfield, Grace Harris and Alana King with ball in hand. Sneaks down the leg side.
Yeah, certainly some of the hottest names in cricket at the moment, aren't they? And if you didn't know that, you might be about to know.
Tucked around the corner. They get through comfortably enough.
Yeah, good start here from Alana King. No boundaries so far. Paige Scholfield having a bit of a watchful role. Grace Harris, I'm sure, will feel very comfortable in terms of knowing Alana King's game plans, but still, you still have to execute your own plan, and there are lots of variables to take into consideration.
Well, they obviously have a plan here, Lancashire, and that they're happy for Grace Harris to be off strike. There's a slight change in the fields, depending on the 2 batters, depending which batter is on strike. For Paige Scholfield, at the beginning of this over at least, they're now changing. They had a mid-wicket in place to prevent an easy single being taken in the leg side. We are seeing that change now. You can see one of the fielders scampering across in the background on your screen. That's just to give it Lancashire more of a chance of keeping her at that end, not letting Grace Harris face up. Paige Scholfield goes for that reverse sweep, knowing that there's a bit of a gap behind point. Everyone's playing a bit of chess there. They're kind of all making decisions before things have ever really happened.
Yeah, and interesting. So they've actually kept that mid-wicket in place as well. So usually towards the back end of the over to... Yeah, so here we go. They're moving back down now and they're saying, right, we're going to see if we can get Paige Scholfield back on strike for the start of the next over. We're going to starve Grace Harris of the strike so she can have a single through mid-wicket.
Instead, she forces a dot ball to cover. Grace Harris will have strike at the beginning of the next over after 9. It is 72 for 4. I tell you what, Kirstie, we did a really good job of captaining Lancashire there. We did, yeah. And her captain will be absolutely over the moon with that over. That's exactly what they needed. Just driving that run rate down again. So at the start of the over, it was 8.68. It's now 8. So I imagine Alana King will have another over. What Ellie Threlkeld will really be hoping for now is for Tara Norris to back up Alana King at this end. And she's certainly capable of doing that. I wonder if she'll stay over the wicket or come round, and we'll see lots of variations here. Lots of cutters, back of the hand, slower balls here. Well, just 3 runs off the previous Alana King over. Tara Norris coming into the attack now from the Vauxhall end. American international, Tara Norris. Yep. Yeah, staying over the wicket, probably just trying to tighten that angle up so that Grace Harris is a bit cramped for room. Picked up. Will that be in the gap? Yes, 1 bounce and over the rope. 2 fielders, you can see, arriving on the scene at exactly the same time, but unfortunately for Lancashire, they were equally far away from it. Harris moves on to 46. Yeah, and that's exactly how Surrey would have wanted to start this over, having only scored 3 from the previous. So a boundary to start and hopefully carry some more momentum, put the pressure back on the Lancashire bowling unit. Oh, she's picked that up beautifully behind square. She decides against too, but it's really surprising and impressive from Norris that she's still able to get this shape on the ball at this stage in the innings. We often see with Tash Farrant, Surrey's left arm seamer, that at this stage she'll come over the wicket, or around the wicket, my apologies, and go to these change-ups. But if you can see on your screen, if you are watching at home, Norris is still managing to shape the ball back into the right-hander. Yeah, it's really interesting. Continuing with pace on here. So this mid-wicket has now come back into the ring to save 1 here. So there's a clear plan. Let's keep Harris off strike and bowl as many deliveries as we can at Paige Scholfield while she's not. Ow. There's the need for shin pads. And she's almost kicked it for 4, actually. It's even worse. Yeah. It's gone for 2. That's okay. I think Norris will accept that.
She might come off the short run for the next delivery. That's a good stop. That was certainly 4. 100% going for 4 off Paige Schofield's bat, straight back down the ground. So those shin pads that we were talking about a little bit earlier on might be needed.
Tara Norris will be able to look at a very big bruise on her shin for the next week and wonder whether the 2 runs were worth it. Lifted towards mid-on, but fielded by Kate Cross. Tara Norris, product of Backer School down in Sussex, which is a cricket specialist state school. They also have a tie-up with Sussex, so she actually, well, she went to kind of a nearby school and then did her cricket studies, as it were, her training at the Brighton Aldridge Cricket Academy. Before moving on to Loughborough University. Picked up. And 4 more. Well, at part of the ground, cow corner, deep mid-wicket, call it what you want, has been receiving a peppering. And Surrey are flying here once again. Full toss from Norris, picked up by Scholfield, 4 runs to Surrey.
Yeah, and forces a change in the field here, so mid-wicket has now come across, 2 players inside the ring behind the bat, big vacant gap through mid-wicket. 1 ball to come, and I guess they're going to want Paige Scholfield on strike for Alana King's next over.
Chipped over the head of Norris, and they do get through for 1. Well, I think Lancashire will take that. They do get Scholfield on strike for the second half of the innings. 84 for 4 is the score after 10 overs. Grace Harris on 47 off 25. Scholfield on 10 off 10. I'm Cameron Ponsonby. I'm joined by former Surrey cricketer Kirstie White.
I'm ever so grateful to be doing commentary today because it's very hot out there. So many fans taking refuge in the shade actually today in the JM Finn stand. Lots of people fanning themselves. I actually bought my own electronic fan with me, handheld, so that I could keep myself cool.
You also noted that it was running out of battery.
Yes.
Too early in the day.
Yeah, I didn't charge it, but it's still got a good bit of battery life in it. Change of bowling, Sophie Morris.
That is a hack into the leg side from Scholfield. Doesn't get much of it, so it's just 1 run out to the fence. Morris with 2 wickets to her name so far, accounted for both openers. First, Bryony Smith, who she clean bowled second ball of the innings. And Danny White-Hodge, the massive wicket of White-Hodge, she had stumped after finding a little bit of turn.
Oof, good hand. That's going to sting. Driven firmly back down the ground. She's very good at nutmegging the bowlers, is Grace Harris.
That's a skill.
It's a definite skill, yeah.
Hit the gaps. Rightio. Morris to continue. It's lifted up towards long off. Could be out. No. Just sneaks through the hands. I believe that might be Fee Morris out on the rope. A despairing
Eve
dive.
Jones, I believe. Eve Jones.
Eve Jones, it is indeed.
Well, from where we are, I thought that had absolutely cleared the ropes and she's got full value for shots there. But Eve Jones diving in, does have it, but just can't keep hold of the ball diving forward.
That's short, and that will be 4.
Yeah.
4 more to Paige Scholfield.
Just to rub salt into the wound.
Very loose delivery from Morris there. Her first in a while, since her first ball of the match. It was a similar delivery which was short and wide. Unfortunately for Lancashire, that had to go.
Yeah, you're right. I think she's probably bowled 2 deliveries that have been short and wide. Both have gone for 4.
It's a better length, but a better result for Surrey. Scholfield lifted up over deep mid-wicket. That is 6 runs.
I kind of jumped and wheeled that over the fielder as well, just to give it that extra bit of flight.
I made it a fantastic sound off the bat from Scholfield there.
I think she's just starting to find it now, isn't she? She's just hitting that rhythm. I think yesterday probably wasn't her best batting performance. Things weren't coming off the way that she would have wanted. She found it quite hard to time the ball yesterday, so this will be a good boost.
If they drop this into the leg side and they'll think about 2. Well, I'll rephrase that. Paige Scholfield will think about 2. Grace Harris won't. No interest in taking a second run there. And Scholfield has pinched the strike for the next over as well. 11 gone here at the Kia Oval. The score is 99 for 4. And Scholfield, who had been on 10 off 10, is now on 24 off 15.
Yeah, that was a really good over for Surrey there. 15 coming from it. I just wonder why they decided not to go with Alana King again, having only gone for 3 for the previous over. We're seeing her this end now, so maybe they just fancied a change of ends. It makes a bit more sense, the extra cover boundary with the ball spinning away. This is a larger boundary for Alana King to bowl to.
Well, I'm just running through the Lancashire card here. And in a trend we're seeing across this competition, and that's found the gap. Just. Point was interested there. That was an uppish square cut. Rather than being caught, 4 more runs have been added to the total, and that brings up Surrey's 100. 103 for 4 here.
Yeah, all fielders are inside of the ring on the offside, so while it was in the air for a short period of time, there was probably a little bit more width on offer than Alana King would have liked to have offered, ultimately creating 4 runs.
That's 2 full and 2 leg side. Surrey are scampering along here now. Back-to-back boundary from Scholfield, who's gone through the gears and quickly. She's made 22 runs off her last 7 deliveries. Alana King, whose first over just went for just 3 runs, has now conceded 8 and 2 balls.
Yeah, and a part of me thinks, I do think she should have continued from the other end, because that last over just kind of got Paige Scholfield into her rhythm. Whereas before, you know, she was unsettled. She wasn't kind of really firing with the bat, so it's a challenge now.
We saw Surrey do this against the Blaze last week, where they didn't keep a bowler on at any point, and Lancashire are currently following the same trend. No bowler has bowled consecutive overs so far. Well, the Grace Harris bat on fine display there again. It's only 1 run, but you're not going to see a more elegant, aesthetic run across the year.
The speed that's gone past Alana King is outrageous. Outrageous.
Moves her on to 49.
That's also outrageous. Unassumingly onto 49.
Another sweep round the corner.
Oh, that's well picked up.
Well, fantastic fielding eventually. There by Lancashire.
That spin very often undoes people. She's done well to adjust with that right hand diving to save 4 runs.
It was Elisa Lister at short fine leg. That'll be another dot ball. So 2 dots to finish Alana King's second over. Lancashire will take that after 8 runs came off the first 2 balls. So for just 10 runs to be scored in total, well, we'll call that a score draw. 12 overs gone, 109 for 4. Grace Harris on 49. Paige Scholfield motoring along now as well on 33 off 20. What are we looking at here as a final score that Surrey will be after?
I think they should have 180 in their sights. Lancs have got a fairly strong batting lineup, and they've been, you know, scoring some decent runs. So 180, I reckon, is a comfortable score to defend. I think potentially 170, but anything less than that, I think Lancs will probably back themselves to score.
Kate Cross back into the attack from the pavilion end. And that's 50 for Grace Harris. Just 28 balls to reach the milestone. It's her second 50 of the competition, and she has been an absolute superstar for Surrey so far this year, with both bat and ball in hand. And well, to be honest, with a bat like that, she should be making runs.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah. Yeah, I think Surrey need to be really putting in a shift here and going at around 10 and over from this point. If they continue at 9s, they'll get to that 180.
Bit of flair from Paige Scholfield there.
Oh, little bit of a communication mishap or lack thereof.
Yeah, don't run yourself out, guys. That'll be a bad idea if you're the home team here. They thought about a second run, ultimately decided against it. You mentioned that Lancashire have struggled for runs so far this competition. Just 150 in the entirety of the blast so far, and that was by Katie Mack, who's not playing today. Pulls. Does that beat the fielder? Yes. It splits the hands of Tara Norris, and she helps it on its way for 6. Could that be another big moment in today's match? Because with Grace Harris gone, well, you're chasing a lot fewer than if Grace Harris is in.
Yeah, that's a really tough catch there. She's hit it so hard. Norris is in the air as she's trying to take it, and it's just burst through the hands.
It's a great shot of Grace Harris there. Heart in mouth to begin with. 6 runs to finish with. It's a single. I think that hurt the hands of Long Off.
Yeah, I don't know where I'd like to field if Grace Harris is batting.
12th.
Run the drinks on. Because I certainly wouldn't want to be the bowler, that's for sure.
Scholfield is not exactly tapping the ball around either. She has another single to her account. It's been a good over from Kate Cross. Yes, 10 runs have come off it. But she bowled a short ball. She had protection out on the fence. And on another day, that ball is held and she's seen the back of Grace Harris. It'll be interesting to see who Lancashire turn to in the next over. Out. Well held by Lana King, who was on the move at long on. Grace Harris picks out the fielder. A fine innings comes to an end, and a well-deserved wicket for Kate Cross, who created 2 opportunities against Grace Harris in that over. The second one went to hand, and another turning point in this match occurs. After 13 overs, the score's 119 for 5, and Grace Harris is gone for 57.
Yeah, so I was just actually having a look at the stats between these two that were in the middle at the time. So partnership of 69 runs off 39 balls. Valuable partnership. Grace Harris was striking at 190, with Paige striking at 159. So very good catch on the move. Almost juggled out of the hands, but well held in the end by Lana King. Tara Norris will be feeling relieved after parrying that one over the rope for 6 at the start of the over as well. Brings Alice Davison-Richards to the crease, the partnership that won the game yesterday at the Utilita Bowl.
See Grace Harris kind of helping herself up the stairs there, using a bat as a walking stick. It is hot out there, so although she'll only face 5 overs worth of balls, she put in a lot of work, and here is some of that work. Her best boundaries on show here. Leg side play. I'll have the rest of that package for you later.
Change of bowling. Oh, and the bowler's not realised the ball's come to her end. Fortunately, mid-off has managed to come around and gather that before the pair at the crease decide to turn and take 2. Emma Lamb bowling now from the Vauxhall end.
Well, she hasn't bowled a lot for Lancashire so far. She's only in her 3rd match of the season, admittedly. She bowled in one of those matches. 2 overs, went for 17 runs. No wicket so far in the Vitality Blast 2025. Well, I think that's a good... Well, I was going to say it was a good one for Lancashire because it was a bad ball from Lamb. Was pulled away behind square, but Johnson makes the error on the fence, and that is 4.
Yeah, that was poor from Lancashire all around. Bit of a drag down and a gift as your first delivery at the crease. Johnson makes a bit of a meal of it. Can't decide whether she's going to tumble, whether she's going to long barrier or just pick up the ball, and ultimately the ball has beaten her before she's made a decision.
This is an interesting decision from Lancashire here because Lamb is bowling as the 6th bowler. So they didn't need to bowl her. It's an active decision to go, you know what, we're going to go a bit more spin. One assumes instead of the seam of Johnson. They feel that spin's the better option to go for the back end of this innings. This time it is well fielded in the covers by Eve Jones.
Yeah, Lamb opting to come round the wicket as well, so just trying to force the batters to play through the onside.
That's perfect from Lamb. As Kirstie alluded to, the 4 fielders out on the boundary for Lancashire stretch from long off all the way through to deep backward square leg. There's no fielders in front of square on the leg side. You're basically encouraging Surrey to tap one into the leg side and take easy runs. Lifted up towards long off, and that's out. A big turning point, a big 2 overs in this match. As first Grace Harris departs, and now Paige Scholfield is gone as well. And Lancashire know exactly how important those 2 wickets are. Because Surrey might have been shooting for all the way up to 200, and now their potential total, well, Lancashire have knocked 10 to 20 runs off it. Paige Scholfield has to go. She made 37 off 24, and the bowling change of bringing on Emma Lan has worked for the visiting side.
Yeah, I can understand what Paige Scholfield was trying to do there. She was trying to access that extra cover region that they did so well yesterday down at the utility bowl. But unfortunately, it's just a little bit too straight on her, and long off gathers nicely.
Well, you never know. I never really understand why the fielders, after just dropping a catch once come at them soon again afterwards. Although, you know what? I'll take a break for the rest of today. But Tara Norris, she did put down a catch last over against Grace Harris. This time, safe hands at long off. Paige Scholfield has to go. Phoebe Franklin in at number 8. She's had quite a productive year with the bat. She played a very fine innings down at Guildford. So to have her at number 8 is a show of strength from the home team.
Yeah, I like this captaincy here from Ellie Threlkeld as well. Both batters very new to the crease, and captain saying we're going to attack you and put some pressure on, so there's not going to be any easy singles for you. So they've brought mid-wicket in, saving 1. Still with 4 fielders out, but ones aren't going to be easy to score here. It's good captaincy, I like this.
Just seeing Alice Davison-Richards take her guard on screen there. She was asking for leg stump. She started about 6 inches outside a leg stump. The umpire had to keep on going. Nope, a bit further. There you go. Here comes Alana King. And there goes Alice Davison-Richards. 1 down the ground to bring Phoebe Franklin on strike.
Yeah, both of these players are very strong down the ground. Big features of both of their games. Phoebe Franklin's last innings that we saw her score so many runs at Guildford, playing through that extra cover in long on region, was so powerful for her, as Alana King just strays down the leg side and bowls a wide.
We see again that mid-wicket in place. So when Lancashire are wanting to keep a batter on strike, mid-wicket is in place for the Surrey batter, and there she is for Phoebe Franklin.
Now, what's important here is that these two don't take too many deliveries to settle in and start scoring runs. So Franklin, whilst being watchful of Alana King, does need to be aware that there are less than 36 balls remaining.
Phoebe Franklin gets herself off the mark with a drive down to long off.
Took a couple of really good catches yesterday for Surrey down at the utility bowl. One of the best fielders in the game at the moment.
Bit shorter from Alana King. Davison-Richards looks to force that off the back foot, but well fielded off her own bowling. Another very fine over here from Alana King. Just 3 runs off it so far, 2 balls to go. And there, we just had that mid-wicket taken out for the final 2 balls of the over. And both teams, well, Lancashire will be delighted with that, because you're effectively trying to protect the back end of the over. You're trying to not go for a boundary. So if the batter elects to take an easy one, that's a win for the bowling team. This time Phoebe Franklin does try and split those 2 fielders in the deep. That's smartly done by Fee Morris again. One over, 1 run scored off the final ball. After 15 overs, the score is 132 for 6. Davison-Richards on 8 off 6 deliveries. Phoebe Franklin on 2 off 3.
Yeah, doesn't quite split the field with that sweep. I think it was a bit more of a watchful sweep just to get into the swing of how she's going to attack Alana King. Oh, as the ball's just... Oh, no, it's not. It's the bowler's mark has been thrown. I think it's just taken the back off of the umpire. Yeah, but going back to your last point with the movement of that mid-wicket, even the best bowlers in the world want to get out of their overs to protect their figures. So we see another change of bowling at the Vauxhall end. Sophie Morris.
That's short. This time pulled to the fielder in the deep, so it'll just be 1 run. Surrey will feel they missed out there because that was a loose delivery from Morris.
Yeah, use of the crease here is going to be really important for these two. Are they going to hop onto the back foot and trying to access the offside where there's no protection out on the boundary? Or are they going to come down the ground and see if they can clear those ropes? And now I know where ADR's mindset is and where it quite often is. She'll be sending it up into this commentary box here with us, Cam.
Well, think again, Kirstie White. She backs away, looks to cut the ball through that offside area.
There's a new woman.
It's one of the biggest tactical differences between the men's and women's games in T20s, only having been able to have 4 out in the women's game. Davison Richards looks to go again, will get 1 run. So in the men's game where you're allowed 5 out, you'll probably either see that fielder in at mid-wicket be out on the boundary, so you'll have 4 fielders on that leg side fence, or that fielder at cover can go out, so you are able to have protection on both sides of the wicket. In the women's game, you can't have protection on both sides. And so, players like Phoebe Franklin can make the most of it. They'll look back, they'll look to cut, and they'll get 4 runs out to point.
Yeah, and that's a real strength for Phoebe Franklin's game as well. Her feet are so quick that she can hop straight back onto that leg stump and access that backward point area really nicely. Doesn't have to do too much adjusting, but her hands are so fast and whippy through that ball that she can find that boundary. Key boundary as well to keep the momentum flowing here for Surrey. That run rate's just dropped below 9.
Well, she looks to go again, and she beats the fielder. That took a horrible bounce just at the ankles of the Lancashire fielder at cover, and it skips through. And because it went over the square, it was 4 runs.
Yeah, they've just added that extra fielder into that offside field as well. They've taken mid-wicket out, and they're really trying to pack that offside field because they just don't want Surrey to score any boundaries through there. But Phoebe Franklin says, no thanks, I think I can still find a gap, and does. Goes again. Dot this time.
Well, it speaks to the strength of Franklin, the fact that even with 4 fielders in a line on that offside rig, she decided to keep trying to pierce the gap. 16 overs go. 4 overs left here of the first innings at the Kia Oval. The score is 142 for 6. I'm Cameron Ponsonby. I'm joined by Kirstie White. Davison Richards is on 9. Phoebe Franklin is on 11. And, well, where would you rather be than where that man is right now? He's found a balcony somewhere. It looks like he's got the end of a beer on the go. I'm sure he'll find another one. Get yourself down to the Kia Oval. Some call it the best beer garden in South London. And they look to cut the ball again, and it's snuck through again. And whilst it's a tame 4, it's 4 nonetheless for Davison Richards.
Yeah, at some point here, I think Lancs are going to have to park the ego and put a fielder out on that cover boundary. There's a bit of a conflab going on between Alana King and I think it might be Eve Jones. It's come up to have a little chat.
Well, I think if I was the Lancashire bowlers, I'd say,
Kate Cross,
can my fielders stop it, rather than, my lines aren't too bad here. They're having to take risks. They're having to give themselves a lot of space to play that cut shot. And that's perfect from King. Much straighter. Davison Richards can only bunt the ball down the ground for 1. Sophie Morris, she finished her 4 overs. And while she was expensive going for 38, chipped up in the air, that'll be out, and is out. Well bowled from King, who gets her first wicket of the afternoon. And these wickets are important, even at this stage of the innings, because they just halt the momentum of the batting team. And Phoebe Franklin has to go for an enterprising 11 off 8 balls.
Yeah, very innovative in terms of actually thinking through the field and actually, you know, saying, no, game on, I'm gonna try and penetrate these gaps here. I don't care who you are and what your credentials are, I'm still going to play my game and know what my strengths are, so well played. Brings Rhiannon McDonald-Gay to the crease. Batting just continues to flow.
We just saw on the replay there when Alana King was setting the ball in her hand. She's bowling cross seam. That means the ball, rather than spinning along kind of the seam and landing in a more, not predictable, but hopefully more consistent way, it might land on the seam, it might land on the kind of flat surface. It just impacts how the ball skids off the surface, and hopefully, if you're Lancashire, is to a leading edge, as it was on display with Phoebe Franklin. Right, Rhiannon McDonald-Gay comes to the crease. Surrey 7 down. Still with McDonald-Gay and Tash Farrant to come. Batting talent still available. Well, how's that missed?
How has that missed? That's just gone straight on. Quicker delivery there from Alana King.
I hope we're able to have a quick look at the replay there, because McDonald-Gay's looked to give herself a bit of room. And the ball's almost kissed off stump. That's a full toss. King gets away with it, and McDonald-Gay gets herself off strike. I almost feel like McDonald-Gay was surprised that Alana King, a bowler as good as Alana King's bowler, a full toss.
What do I do?
What to do with it?
Yeah. So cover's come up. Square leg has gone back.
Another full toss, this time Davidson-Richards takes one down the ground, and Surrey will be okay with that because it means Davidson-Richards takes strike for the next over. A successful set of 4 overs for Alana King, 1 for 25 off her 4. And while it's nothing showy, going at 6 runs and over, well, you take that every single day of the week. 3 overs to go here of the Surrey innings at the Kia Oval. The score is 149 for 7. Well, Surrey will be looking to get up to and potentially even beyond 180.
Yeah, 10s and over from here if they want to get to 180. Sophie Morris continuing. A little bit more expensive. Sorry, it won't be Sophie Morris continuing because she's finished her spell. This is Grace Johnson continuing. So has gone at 10s and over, so favourable for Surrey wanting to continue it going at 10s and over to get to that 180 mark. Expect to see some laps here, I'm sure.
A big stride down the ground from Davidson-Richards, but just tucks the ball away into the leg side.
Yeah, McDonald-Gay's run that first one very hard. No hope of a 2. Brings the 150 up for Surrey.
We see after Davidson-Richards' intent coming down the ground, Ellie Threlkeld immediately puts the lid on and comes up to the stumps. It's a slower ball, and again, McDonald-Gay is living dangerously here because she's missed 2 balls. I've gone to say bowled, and well, she carried on batting.
Yeah, so 360 playing, but just at 12 o'clock.
That was a little bit wider. I'll let her off for that one.
Gets Alice Davidson-Richards back on strike. Alice Davidson-Richards.
It's happened. I told you it's hard.
Might find the gap, not quite. McDonald-Gay is fast, but not that fast.
Well, this is well bowled by Grace Johnson. She's bowling a lot of change-ups, a lot of slower balls, and she has protection on that leg side. Crucially, the difference here, she also has that cover point sweeper out as well. So the young seamer has protection in all sides of the ground here. She's bowling well. Well, McDonald-Gay accesses 12 o'clock again.
I almost feel that Alice Davidson-Richards is coming down the ground and she's kind of trying to hit this gap between long on and mid-wicket. And what I think I'd like to see her do is actually hit the ball to the right-hand side of mid-wicket, because if anything lands on those practice wickets over there, you're guaranteed 4, whereas it's a little bit more, I wouldn't say pluggy because it's very dry, but it's not going to run off the surface as quickly through that long on mid-wicket gap.
That's a great dot for Lancashire there, because Davidson-Richards has belted that cover a yard to the left or right, that'll be 4. But as it happens, it's a dot ball.
Yeah, that was a bit of a gift. That sat up nicely for Alice Davison-Richards, and she's kind of almost just snatched it a little bit too early. She needed to wait a fraction of a second more and put it to the left of that extra cover fielder, who's very straight but sat on the ring.
Heaved up towards long on and out. A deserved wicket for Grace Johnson, who bowled a very fine over there. Just 4 singles had been scored off the opening 4 balls of the over. And Davison-Richards, knowing she had to play the big shot, looked to lift the ball over the boundary, but succeeded only in finding the hands of Kate Cross. And Lancashire keep on chipping away at this Surrey batting lineup. The score now, after 18 overs, 153 for 8.
Yeah, I think Alice Davison-Richards is just trying and just thought, you know, I have to score a boundary, and this is the area that I hit my boundaries, so I'm going to try and elevate either over that long on or hit that gap. So just looking at this replay here, doesn't quite get all of the ball. It's a bit of a lazy shot, really. I don't think she's quite hit that with the impetus that she could have if she was trying to clear the ropes. Maybe trying to be a bit too precise in the angle that she was trying to hit there. Brings Tash Farrant to the crease, who the last time we were here, Cam, hit 4 with an exceptional reverse switch hit kind of shot for her first delivery.
It was enthralling.
It was.
She hadn't had a bat in about a year.
Best when fresh.
She opened up with the reverse ramp. So unfortunately, she's at the non-striker's end. So Tara Norris is going to finish off her set of 4 from the pavilion end. 2 overs to go. McDonald Gay on strike.
Yeah, this almost becomes one of those net challenges where the coach says to you, right, you've got 12 balls. I need you to score as many runs as you possibly can.
And as many runs as you possibly can behind square. Whilst reversing.
Yeah, that's McDonald Gay's first runs in front of square, is it?
That's a good point. I was referring to Farrant's reverse ramp. I'm only interested in one shot now. We've given it the big uns now.
We have. Watch this be just a leave. Leave outside off stump.
Tara out. Jan Myberg will call her in. It's not allowed.
Keeper's gone back.
So that unfortunately dissuades the ramp as well. 3 fielders on that leg side boundary. It's an outside edge and they will get 1, but it was a conventional cricket shot. They're going to come back for 2. It's an overthrow well taken by McDonald Gay. I don't think Lancashire have done too much wrong there. Alana Kings had a shot at the stumps, which she was within her rights to do. Eve Jones over at long on was scampering in to try and close the distance, knowing what was happening. But Surrey were alert to the danger. Tash Farrant off the mark with a 2, but unfortunately with a conventional cricket shot. And knock 1 again. Coaching manual stuff so far from Surrey. Will there be some temptation, given that they're 8 wickets down, just to try and go a run a ball here, use up all their deliveries? Or will they still be looking to take some risks and find the boundary?
I don't think Surrey can afford to leave any runs out there, so I think there's a real fine edge here between scoring boundaries and losing wickets, knowing what batting is still to come.
Takes the inside half of McDonald Gay's bat. They'll settle for 1.
So these 2 are the last 2 that can score the runs realistically. Obviously with Tilly Courtine Coleman still to come. Very fit, these 2 as well, so they will look to run 2s. I think that 2 that we just saw probably was only the 2nd or 3rd in the entire innings. Just goes to show how fast this outfield is.
And there we go. There is that reverse ramp sweep. Farrant knew she had to take a risk. She had 2 options, over cover, behind square on the offside, and she chose the latter.
Yeah, look at this, it's a great shot. Doesn't change her hands over as well, which is a real skill to be able to keep that bat face completely open as well. And there's a very small gap between 3rd and backward point, and she's threaded that needle perfectly. Well played, Tash Farrant.
Then she takes 1, delighting cricket coaches all across the land. She'll keep the strike for the final over 19 overs gone here. 1 to go at the Kia Oval. The score's 163 for 8.
Yeah, 10 from that over where it didn't look like that was coming. So really, really good over there in the end for Surrey. I think Lancs will feel a little bit robbed. Be interesting to see what Kate Cross's plan of attack is for this final over.
Well, all the vital ingredients on your screen there. A man with sun cream in one hand, a woman with a pint in the other. That's a very fine way to spend your Wednesday afternoon here at the Kia Oval. The first of 2 matches here, of course. The men take on Sussex later this evening. Before we get to that stage, Kate Cross is going to finish off Lancashire's over. Farrant is on strike.
This long on is incredibly straight.
Long on, very straight. Deep mid-wicket has come straighter than usual as well. Short third is in the ring, so if Farrant wants to go for that reverse sweep, she can. This time she looks to go the other way. And despite a little hop around the crease, she does get the wide given in her favour.
Cross feels robbed, I think, with there. No eye contact with either the umpire or the batter. Who'd be a bowler? I think that's gone over the top of leg stump. That's a tough call.
That is harsh for Cross, because she would imagine that Farrant's going for the reverse sweep as well.
Imagine she's going to do it again.
Pulled, gets it behind square. That's 4 more. Farrant moves on to 12 off 5. It's a very fine little innings for Surrey here, just keeping that run rate ticking along, pushing up that score at the end of this innings. They move into the 170s. Well, beg your pardon, 168. I'm lying to you.
Yeah, really nicely played that. Farrant gets on top of the bounce and just guides it round the corner, knowing all she's got to do is beat fine leg. And she's got 4, and she does exactly that. 168 for 8, with 5 deliveries to come.
This time she aims to go through cover. There's a mix-up in the middle. That'll be out. Farrant hit and run. McDonald-Gay didn't get the memo, and Surrey are 9 down.
Yeah, didn't get the memo, but also puts the incoming batter on strike as well, which is not the ideal scenario that Surrey would have wanted to find themselves in here.
Well, that was a real breakdown of communication between the 2 Surrey batters. Farrant, in effect, has 2 options to strike a boundary. She can either look to split or go over that ring of fielders on the offside, or to play the ramps and scoops as she has done behind square. On this occasion, she hit and run to cover. But Donald-Gay, I think understandably to an extent, was a bit surprised to be getting called through.
Yeah, I think Farrant's initial... Had McDonald-Gay set off initially at the first... On the first instance, I think she probably would have made it. She is so fast. I think Farrant probably thought, well, actually, I'm more at the danger end here. Cover's going to throw at my end, and they've got 1 stump to aim at just from the angle. And actually, because McDonald-Gay hesitated, it just gave Cover time to assess the situation and get the ball into the gloves of Ellie Threlkeld, who just has to take and break.
Oh, it's the worst case scenario that for Surrey, because it's a dot ball, it's a wicket, and the number 11 is on strike. This time they'll do the exact same thing again, take the run. Courtine Coleman does her job, gets Farrant back on strike. And there are 3 balls left in this over.
What I love about that situation is the ball's been thrown back into Kate Cross, who's kind of gathered it but not, and it's gone a little bit astray. And you could just pick up on the stump mic, Courtine Coleman saying, looking, and Farrant's like, absolutely not, Tilly. I think I'll take the strike.
I'll have it. I'll do the batting. Thank you very much.
Brilliant.
We have that same field in place, mid-off, extra cover and cover all in place. So if Farrant wants to try and beat those 3, she's more than welcome to. Pulled into the leg side. Does she get it behind square? She does. But is only able to get 1.
Yeah, for a minute there, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. The square leg got a little bit wrong-footed and you almost thought, oh, she ran past it? Is it going to be 4? No, just a 1. Picked it up almost too well there, Farrant, while looking for 2.
Big swing and a miss from Courtine Coleman. Cross is finishing well here. Means Farrant's work for the day with bat in hand is done. Imagine she'll be getting her skates on. Anything that's hit down the ground will be her job to get back for 2. Struck down towards mid-off, and that should just be a single to end the innings. And it is a very entertaining passage and innings of play here at the Kia Oval. See Surrey finish on 171 for 9. Farrant, she trots off and gets ready to have a bowl, finishes on 13 off 7. Courtine Coleman off 2 on 2 off 3. Well, Kirstie White, initial impressions, Surrey around about par. Will Lancashire be the happier of the two teams?
I think it's hard to tell. I think Surrey have potentially got enough on the board that they can defend. I think maybe they would have wanted 180 and upwards of. Whether Lancashire will be happy with how much they've scored, I'd probably say no, based on their scores that they've chased so far this season and the totals they've been able to put on. But set to be a good second innings here.
Well, we'll have a look at the batting card. Surrey up first. Star of the show was Grace Harris with that 57 off 31. Her and Paige Scholfield rattled along through those middle overs as they saved Surrey from what was a bit of a bumpy start. You'll see Smith, Dunkley and Chatley all going cheaply, as well as White Hodge, who only made 12 today. Grand total of 171 after the 20 overs. It was a very fine bowling effort from Lancashire. A team effort, you could say. No one standout bowler. Morris, 2 wickets, and they were 2 crucial wickets. Bryony Smith and Danny White Hodge, the 2 opening batters. And from that point, the wickets shared around evenly. Alana King, probably the star of the show there, of 1 for 25. And it all came down to this. 171 from the 20 overs. We'll be back in around 5 to 10 wickets. 5 to 10 wickets, 5 to 10 minutes with the chase.
She's an expert. She'll know what to do. Right, and obviously you catch a ball, and everybody here at the Kia Oval will go absolutely crazy. So you're going first, my friend, or you're going to go first. Right, so we'll step over here. Remember Kia Oval, if they catch a ball, go absolutely crazy for them. Step this way, go. All right, final first one. Here we go. So here, go on. We should catch it. Back. Oh. All right. Second one. Off we go. Here we go. Catch this. Yes! All right, one catch. All right, Andy goes first. Brenda, Andy go first. We'll save the professional till the end. All right, Andy's going next for team 2. Right, first ball coming your way. Here we go. Yes, please. Up it goes. Go wild if he catches it, Oval. Oh, went for the one-handed catch. All right, second ball. Off you go. All right, beautiful. Catch this one going close. Go. Yes! All right, your third and final ball heading this way, Andy. Here we go. Oh, so close. All right, it's the one we've all been waiting for, ladies and gentlemen. Kia Oval, go crazy for Brenda, everybody. All right, Brenda. Show us how it should be done.
All right, first, you ready, love? Okay, first one coming. Brenda, it's there. Brenda, it's there. Brenda, it's there. Brenda, it was right there. Wait, wait, wait. Brenda, it was there. Brenda, come a bit closer. Come a bit closer. There he is. There we are. Okay, ready, Brenda? Second one. Fire. Here we go. Go on, Brenda. This place to go. Craig. Go on, Brenda. It's over there, Brenda. The wind got it, Brenda. The wind got it. All right, third and final one. Catch this one with your teeth. Here we go. Fire away. Catch it, Brenda. Catch it, Brenda. Catch it, Brenda. Ooh, so close. What was the final score? I think it was one apiece, wasn't it? What? I'll tell you what. You've both been. All of you have been absolutely amazing. Come this way, guys. Come this way. Come this way. Care of our friends at Kia. You're all going to get a prize because you've all been absolutely brilliant. Kia Oval, make some noise for our amazing super fans down here on the pitch. Terrific job. Well done. We've got some T-shirts for you. Don't forget, care of our friends at Pomeroy. We've got a magnum bottle of champagne to give away to one of you out there, one super fan. So if you're going crazy, if you're getting behind the team and making lots of noise, a magnum of champagne could be heading your way. Moments until the players get back on the pitch. So DJ Tony, over to you. Well done, Gary.
So just ahead of the restart, a note on something very special coming up today, a special panel discussion on LGBTQ+ inclusion in sports to go alongside our Pride Day. This is a space where we come together as a community to listen, learn and lead the conversation on how to make cricket welcoming for everyone. The panel will include representatives from Surrey County Cricket Club, Outfield Cricket, a leading organisation leading the charge on LGBTQ+ inclusion in cricket. Proud Surrey, our very own supporters group, and a representative of Sussex Cricket, tonight's visitors. The panel kicks off at 5:15 PM in the Australian Room in the JM Field stand and all guests are welcome to pop along and listen to some insightful conversations.
It's time now for the second innings. Don't forget the men's team take on Sussex at 6:30 tonight. But now it's time to bring the noise, welcome the teams back onto the pitch, and remember, this is the Oval, the home of T20 cricket, and we are Surrey!
Cameron Ponsonby. I'm joined by former Surrey player Kirstie White. We look forward to what should be a pretty competitive run chase. We're not quite sure whether Surrey are above or below par, and that's normally the ingredients for, well, an entertaining run chase.
Yeah, it's interesting because I think 1 or 2 seasons ago, if you were to say, oh, do you think they're above or below par with 170? I think someone would have laughed at you. 140 would have been a really competitive score in the women's game. So to be questioning whether 171 is enough in this women's game is a real luxury. So, yeah, stand by. What will be interesting for Surrey is how they manage this left-hand, right-hand partnership now with Eve Jones back from injury. Left-hander to left-hander.
Well, it will be Tash Farrant to open the bowling for Surrey. And part of the reason we mentioned, well, Kirstie speaks about the luxury of wondering whether 170 might not be enough, is because of the number of runs that these two batters out in the middle have scored so far this season. In the One Day Cup, Eve Jones and Emma Lamb, whenever you open a Lancashire scorecard, have got roughly 1 million between them. Emma Lamb has been in superb form. It'll be her teammate Eve Jones who takes strike. A very civilised start to proceedings. Little away swinger, blocked down the ground.
Yeah, bang on the money, straight away Tash Farrant, which is nice because she doesn't get to bowl at that many left-handers, so she's had to adjust her line immediately and also think about how much swing she's going to get in the air. So she's straight on the mark, which will be nice and settling for her, getting into this over. She just pulls her mid-on ever so slightly tighter. She can afford to with the ball swinging away from the left-hander.
Well, an early show of aggression from Eve Jones. It was a real quirk of the English women's game for many years that there were just no left-handed batters. I remember a stat from my colleague Nick Friend at the Cricket Centre. This is out of date now, so I apologise. As of a few years ago, as of 2022, Lydia Greenway had been the only left-hander to have batted in England's top 7. That was in T20 cricket. We've since had Freya Kemp, I believe, who's been up there. That's a little bit straighter, and Lancashire will get themselves underway with a leg bye run into the leg side. And then to finish off that statistic, as of 2022, behind Lydia Greenway in the top run scorers for left-handers for England was Tash Farrant with 7.
Watch out, Lids. She's coming for you. Yeah, left-handed bowlers and left-handed batters the country's been crying out for. But there seems to have recently been quite an abundance of left-arm seam bowlers, which is a really nice luxury for sides to have.
That's cut away. It will just be 1 run. Sophia Dunkley does the business out in the deep.
So Surrey have 2 in their squad in Alexa Stonehouse and Tash Farron. Obviously Freya Kemp, who's not currently bowling at the moment, is a good left-arm option. Mahika Gore, another Lancashire seamer, left-arm seamer, not involved today. Tara Norris. Feels like a trivia now.
That's short, and that'll be 4. Helped on its way by Eve Jones, and a loose delivery from Farrant gives away 4 runs. Just to make a note, you are looking at the scorecard, which currently has Lamb and Jones flipped over. So when it says that that was Emma Lamb who scored 4, I promise you it was actually Jones. It'll be sorted out. All these things always are.
Yeah, it's not only the playing team that have to keep up with the left-hand, right-hand combination, but it's the scorers, it's the statos, it's all the people working behind the scenes to make sure that you have the best experience possible.
It's a beautiful drive up to mid-off from Jones. But no run scored, and after the first over, Lancashire 6 for no loss.
Yeah, a fairly strong start there from Surrey. Tash Farron will be frustrated with that boundary, dragging her length and being punished for it. But Lancs starting behind the rate, which is exactly how Surrey will have wanted the game to have panned out.
We'll have another left-hander from the pavilion end. Tilly Courtine-Coleman bowls some tweakers. That distinctive, I don't even know what you call it, black sleeve. Is that kind of a compression? Is that for comfort? Is that for style? Is that for...
I think it's actually, well, I don't know. I think maybe it's something that she just wears while she's fielding now. Usually most people, fielders, wear it just to protect the skin on the elbow, but I don't know if it's a bit of just a routine now for Courtine-Coleman. She's got the black sleeve this year. Last year it was a royal blue.
There she is to Lamb, on the money immediately, just skidding the ball through to the stumps. Just 2 fielders out on the boundary with a deep mid-wicket, a deep cover point, so she has protection on both sides of the ground. And that's 4. She doesn't have protection straight, and Lamb takes a couple of steps and plants her back over her head. That's a fantastic cricket shot from the right-hander.
Yeah, that's a really nice drive there by Emma Lamb. Statement of intent, if you will. Coming down and meeting that ball on the half volley. Not lofting necessarily over mid-off. Oh, no, yeah, they do. But also to the right of mid-off. So a very safe shot nonetheless. Courtine-Coleman just needs to readjust her length here.
Well, she goes again, and it's a missed opportunity from Kira Chatley behind the stumps. It looked as if it was going to bowl her. And I think Chatley might have thought the same. We'll see on the replay here. Lamb attacking the spin of Courtine-Coleman. Comes down the track. It's just snuck past that leg stump.
That was the exact length that she needed to readjust to as well. That just puts that element of coming down the wicket up into that high-risk column. She's a tall bowler, is Courtine-Coleman, so she is hard to come down the wicket to because that bounce can beat you.
It's just a question about the field set to Courtine-Coleman. With the 2 fielders out square, that kind of suggests you're giving yourself the opportunity to be hit both sides of the wicket. Would that be a field set out of necessity and comfort, or is that a plan from Surrey?
Yeah, it's an interesting question. I think this will be a plan for a lot of bowlers. If they have one out either side, it usually suggests that they're not that confident, they're not really backing themselves in terms of where their delivery is going to end up. Oof, that's very tight lines there from Courtine-Coleman. Yeah, so I'm not sure. Slightly different field here. So with the long off and deep mid wicket out for Eve Jones.
Well, appeal for LBW given. The umpire was quick to agree on that occasion, and Courtine-Coleman missed out on a wicket a few balls ago, but doesn't miss out this time. She sends Eve Jones on her way, and it's an early strike for Surrey. Lancashire 11 for 1.
It's a good job Surrey appealed for that, because the umpire's hand was straight up there. Not a doubt in his mind that that was hitting all three in the middle of each and every one of them.
Well, Robert White, the umpire there, almost appealing or going up with Surrey in tandem. You see the replay here. Tight lines again by Kirstie Coleman, and yep, you know what, Rob White, I think you've got that one correct.
I love Tilly Kirstie Coleman's jazz hand appeal there. Shaking the hands in the air. It's great. Also, just to clarify that the standing umpire at Tilly Kirstie Coleman's end is not my brother, Robert White.
Is your brother called Robert?
He is indeed.
There we go. That'd be exciting. I think that would also count as cheating. I think he would have a what's the word? An ulterior motive. I think if your brother was umpiring, we'd have gone home about an hour and a half ago. Actually, that's not true.
No, Surrey would still be batting.
Right. Maybe it's Seren Smale who's come out to the middle.
Yeah, Seren Smale had a fantastic season last year. Started well this year in the one-day stuff. I don't know if she's really fired the way that Lancs would have hoped she could or can so far, but plenty of overs for her to bat here today and just show how much potential she's got.
Well, McDonald Gay on the money immediately. We've seen a mixed bag from Rhiannon McDonald Gay over the last couple of matches. Match against, I believe it was against Hampshire, or Durham even, where she clean bowled Susie Bates and really had one of the best players in the world on toast to an extent. She had a loose game against the Blaze, but here against Lancashire, so far so good after one delivery. Pulls lifted up over the leg side. Plug. I don't know how it plugs on a day as dry and as sunny as today, but it won't go for 4. It's just the 2 runs for Lancashire.
Yeah, I think a frustrating campaign so far for McDonald Gay. She's just been fairly inconsistent, even throughout spells. You know, one over spells, 2 over spells can be quite expensive, and then coming into the back end and taking significant wickets.
That's a beautiful shot. Emma Lamb leans on that, and that has raced all the way along to the boundary hoardings. That's a long chase. I think it's Tash Farron out there who's having to jog after it. Have a look at this wallop.
Yeah, no foot movement whatsoever. It's just relied on hand-eye coordination there and timing, just to pierce that gap between point and cover. And I think part of being a T20 bowler is just being resilient and knowing that actually you can go for 30 runs and it's okay. You can still pick up 2-3 wickets and change the game. And that is something that McDonald Gay is very good at.
There she is, back on the money, taking the outside half of Emma Lamb's bat. Brings Seren Smale on strike, who, as you mentioned, Kirstie, has not had the best of competitions so far, averaging just 12. She had a couple of starts in the last few matches, scores of 29, 12 and 11. And again, we spoke about the superstars that are on show here today at the Kia Oval, and then we have an instance like this where you have 2 of the most talented young players in the game facing off against one another. McDonald Gay versus Seren Smale. Maybe I'm biased, but I think the new iteration of Tier 1 has been a massive success. Well, an elegant drive to begin with. Confusion in the middle. Well, Lancashire live to fight another day. And you could blame Smale if she wanted to run on the shot there. That was an excellent, beautiful looking cover drive.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I think you're right. I think the introduction of the Tier 1 element of the game has been great, but it's been built on solid foundations where that regional cricket has really begun to develop this talent that you're seeing at the crease at the moment.
Helped behind square, and that'll be 4. Seren Smale, she may have been out of runs so far this competition, but she doesn't look out of form. Very fine start for the right-hander. She moves on to 4 off 2. But at the end of the 3rd over, score is 22 for 1.
Yeah, that's a beautiful glance off the hip. Just lets it come onto her sometimes is an angle that actually as a batter you're not particularly comfortable working around the corner, but she just let that come onto her, run it off the face, down through what would have been a fine leg on the boundary if they weren't up and inside the ring. Timing, not an issue there.
Well, as many people did last summer, Sarah Smell made her England debut in that series against Ireland, where they kind of took a bit of a B team out there. So she's got 2 T20I caps to her name. We've got another change of bowling for Surrey, powered by SSE Energy Solutions. The first ball to the final over. Let's power change together. The Tash Farrant is going to come back into the attack from the Vauxhall end. Keep it up to the stumps on this occasion. Big movement into the right-hander there from Farrant. Just like Tilly Courtine-Coleman did from this end. Has one fielder out on either side. Deep point and a deep square leg.
Yeah, bang on the money there straight away, Tash Farrant. Great start. Really tight angles into the right-hander. Bowl into her field. Mid-wicket doing the work in the ring for her.
That's a wide delivery. Lancashire want to run.
Oh.
Direct hit from Chatley would have seen Emma Lamb have to go. Seren Smells called her mate through there. I don't think Lamb will be particularly appreciative of the decision. We'll see the replay here. Big wide ball, fumble by Chatley. Smale fancies it. Lamb just trying to regain her balance. Has to set off, and you see, had that hit, she was yards and yards short.
And she did hit yesterday at the Utility Bowl, and it unfortunately went through for buzzers. This would have been an occasion where it would have been a wicket. I could watch that line all day.
More beautiful shape. Swinging into the right-hander there from Farrant. I suppose the difference between where you have one out either side for a spinner versus a fast bowler, Farrant's natural length will be shorter than a spin bowler's because you're bowling that bit quicker. And so you can afford, you know you're not going to be targeted straight as much. So having your fielders out at deep square leg, deep cover point, gives you that protection. More good work from Surrey there. One taken into the leg side by Smale. Whilst the ball is swinging, Farrant and Surrey will be happy.
Yeah, absolutely. And where Farrant is swinging the ball into the right-hander, it just means that she can have her extra cover really, really tight and really straight. I almost think Paige Scholfield could actually come into the inside of those practice wickets. If you can see when we pan out onto the extra cover region. And just be really, really tight. Just because of the nature of the angle that Farrant's bowling, it just means that actually anything driven will come very, very straight.
Well, an appeal for LBW.
Just sliding, I think. Half-hearted appeal. It looked good initially, and I think it just did a little bit too much in the air. Let's have a look at this replay. I think it might have just hit the back pad, missing leg stump.
Yeah, that was missing 3 sets.
That's missing 3 sets. And Lamb's also, actually, it looks like she's standing on Midland leg. Whereas more traditionally to a left arm in swinger, you'd likely stand more in a middle and off position.
That's swept into the gap at deep mid wicket. Dunkley will get round and field it. I would apologise for a technical error, but all of you watching at home have just been lucky enough to see our colleague Sam Keir on the screen for a little while. He's been doing the pre-match interviews and the toss. We're back to the action now in the middle.
It's not a foreshadowing, is it? Like on Clarkson's farm?
We're going to see Sam Keir return at some point.
Yeah, that's it, might be.
It's beautifully driven up the ground. It'll just be 1 run. I'll tell you what, Grace Harris fielded smartly, made sure that Emma Lamb had to work for that single. 4 overs gone here at the Kia Oval. The score is 28 for 1. I'm Cameron Ponsonby. I'm joined by Kirstie White. And the tunes are still playing across the ground. And you see, because that sun is blistering today, over in the SSE Energy Solutions stand, Just see where the line of shadow is cutting across the white seats. Everyone is just huddling under the cover, making sure they get a bit of shade. The atmosphere is bubbling up across the course of this match as we head towards the evening fixture as well. Another bowling change powered by SSE Energy Solutions. Tilly Courtine-Coleman's going to bowl her second over of the innings, this time from the pavilion end. She may be a bit happier from this end because she has 5 fielders in a ring on the offside, so her 2 fielders out on the boundary, both on the leg side, long on and deep mid-wicket. So expect Courtine-Coleman to bowl very straight. Straight, tucks into mid-wicket, and 1 run.
Yeah, similar field here to the way that Lancashire set up, although actually that cover fielder is now going out. So we are still inside the power play, so just the 2 fielders out, opting to have one either side of the wicket.
I think that shot there from Smell indicates exactly why they've made that decision for Smell, rather than having long on out, having cover point, because that ball was full of length, not that wide either. Smell still looked to cut it into the offside. She goes again, this time a play and a miss.
That's very smart bowling from Tilly Courtine-Coleman. She knows that Smell is going to back away and try and access that area. So what she's doing, she's just playing with her speed now, and she's just trying to beat that outside edge. That brings that caught behind into play very nicely as well, especially if the ball's turning away.
Bowled. She looked for the cut one too many times. She kept her lines tight. She kept her lines straight. And Seren Smell has to go. Surrey have their second wicket. It's 29 for 2.
Yeah, a little bit more pace off on that delivery, and actually Smells through the shot a bit too early, and that takes the top of off. Perfect delivery. It's almost like she set her up a little bit for that delivery. Very well bowled there, Tilly Courtine-Coleman. She's certainly got a very good brain for this game.
Well, it's been a fantastic start for Courtine-Coleman. 1.5 overs bowled, 2 for 6. She's taken both the opening wickets of this Lancashire innings. We'll see the replay here. Just dropping that ball on a length. It's the dip she gets. It's almost kind of kidding Smell into thinking she can cut that ball, but it's too straight. Smell with gives herself a tap on the helmet. She has to go, unfortunately, for Lancashire.
Yeah, no turn on offer there. It's just gone straight on. I think Smell may have just been playing a little bit for spin too. Outsmarted there by Courtine-Coleman. These tunes are absolutely sensational. I can't keep still.
It's always a party here in the commentary box at Surrey. Kirstie White having a dance. I am too, as well, a little bit. Fee Morris is in the middle, though. She goes for that cut again. Almost breaks through 2 times. Phoebe Franklin
slide tackles it.
Sends out a despairing hand and swings her leg round. I'm quite impressed she didn't manage to boot that to the boundary, basically. But it brings to an end the 5th over. It's 31 for 2, and Surrey will be delighted with their work so far. You can see the run rate required there at the bottom of your screen. Already up to 9.4 and over. Emma Lamb, she's on 17, and she'll be crucial to Lancashire's chances in this chase.
The R's are hard for alliteration, aren't they? Run rate required.
It's an absolute killer. But I find run rate required easier than required run rate.
Required run rate.
You could argue if you can't speak, don't commentate, but I don't want anyone to notice that bit yet. Rhiannon McDonald-Gay, she's going to come into the attack. Another bowling change powered by SSE Energy Solutions.
1 more in the power play for Surrey here. I think they'll really be having their tails up.
Dot ball up to mid-on, where Davidson Richards does the fielding.
Yeah, I like these 2 mid-on, mid-off fielders here. So you've got Grace Harris at mid-off, and you've got Alice Davidson Richards at mid-on, who quietly patrol that area of the ring, and they tend to just swoop. You see them, they don't really attack, or it doesn't look like they're attacking the ball at great speed, but they pick up and release it quickly.
Oh, taking a quick single here. Tash Farron has kidded me in the box, so I was waiting for her to throw it and didn't realise she hadn't actually picked it up. Could be a 5-run penalty. Fake fielding. Don't tell anyone. Anyway. No, you're right. From cover to mid-on, you have Paige Scholfield, Grace Harris, Alice Davidson-Richards. You get this sense that's just a very wise trio. You've seen and played a lot of cricket.
Yeah, you've got Phoebe Franklin at mid-wicket. Nothing's really going to get past her.
Appeal for LBW.
Caught behind.
Caught behind, beg your pardon. I didn't quite realise, and neither did McDonald Gay. Fielders square of the wicket, and the wicket-keeper were convinced they heard something. They had a nick from Fee Morris as it went through to the wicket-keeper, Kira Chatley. McDonald Gay almost joined in just for the sake of it. But there was a noise. Umpire Robert White agreed. Well, Lancashire are now 32 for 3.
Yeah, 3 wickets in the power play. That's what we said that is the dream for the bowling side. Surrey somehow managed to get through to 171. Didn't hear anything behind there, did you? Not at all. What, you thought they were appealing for an LBW, didn't you?
That was a mistake from me.
Okay, right, fine.
I did notice the ball hadn't hit the pad when Kira Chatley was catching it. No, another wicket falls for Lancashire. They're in a little bit of a pickle here. Surrey equally. We'll see the replay here. I'll take it back. That ball has deflected off the bat. There was quite a clear visible edge on that delivery from Fee Morris.
Unshakable in these decisions is umpire Robert White. He knows it's out. He's given it. There's no delays, no satellite delays to be found here at the Oval today. Hopefully. Can't confirm.
Just defended down the ground by the skipper, Ali Threlkeld. And while on the one hand, you could point to Surrey's innings and say, well, they lost 3 early wickets. They were 17 for 3. The depth that they have in their batting is kind of unparalleled across the country. And Lancashire have been short of runs so far this blast. As we mentioned, they've only had 1 half-century across the course of the competition by Kirstie Mack, and she's not here.
Look at the energy in this Surrey field here. Tails are definitely up, crowding the bat, attacking the ball, hunting now for that 4th wicket.
And what will be of particular satisfaction for Surrey if they are able to win this game is that they've done it without Wyatt Hodge runs. There's always a bit of a concern when winning and one player is performing so well that you become over-reliant or expectant that player will always provide. On this occasion, the runs came from elsewhere. It's a lovely push off the back foot from Threlkeld. A powerful throw in from Wyatt Hodge. Mianna McDonald-Gay stings her hand, so kind of intercepting it. But that is the end of the power play. The score is 32 for 3, and that run rate required already an even 10 and over.
Yeah, I'm not sure if McDonald-Gay had another ball to bowl in that over. She'd be particularly impressed that Danny Wyatt Hodge had just absolutely fanged that in at her. But as it stands, she's taken a rest at the end of that over, so she was quite happy to gather.
So the power play is over. Those watching cricket for the first time, that means Surrey are now able to have 4 fielders on the boundary, whereas in the first 6 overs of the innings, they were only allowed 2. And the ever-stylish Grace Harris is going to have a bowl with sunnies and cap on. Umpires must love her. No work for them at all.
Yeah, that's true, actually. Not on a cold day, though.
Well,
what we do know about Grace Harris is when it's her day, it's her day. So it's never just her day with the bat. It's usually her day with the bat and the ball. And speaking to a few of the players, they like to bring Grace Harris into the attack because she really dries up the run rate. So already well under the required, turning the screws a little bit more.
Well fielded by Farrant at point, who manages to make a half stop, and then Rihanna McDonald-Gay helps her mate out. So the 4 fielders we have out on the boundary are scattered from long off all the way around to deep backward square leg. Well, I say that, we're now having all manner of changes. Tash Farrant is hopping out to the deep cover point boundary. We have a deep backward square leg and a square leg in the ring. That's pulled between the two fielders that are in the ring to the right-hander, so it's just one run. What will that mean for a batter? Why would a team set deep backward square leg, almost a fine leg, and then have square leg in the ring? Does that suggest Surrey think Threlkeld will look to sweep a lot?
Yeah, I don't know that she's I can't remember if she's much of a sweeper, but it's more of a paddle. That's a really nice shot.
Emma Lan should get 4 and does get 4. A couple of steps down the track, and a push through the offside. And had it not gone for 4, that would have been an injustice because it deserved to go all the way to the boundary. I'll have a look at the replay here.
Really classy shot here. Shuffles down the wicket, meets it at the half volley, and opens up the angle, which is a very tight angle between mid-off and extra cover.
This time just chips the ball into the leg side. Emma Lamb takes another run. She moves on to 24 off 21.
Yeah, so I can't quite work out. I think maybe... OK, so actually they've gone with the change, so they're now keeping the deep backward square and having a short fine in, or a 45 in now for Ellie Threlkeld. So maybe it was just an error in admin.
Quicker from Grace Harris. Although she drops her length a little bit, it's fielded in the ring. So Surrey get a dot ball to finish the over. 7 overs gone here. Lancashire's run chase, the score is 39 for 3.
Yeah, Surrey well and truly on top here. Get the feeling they're probably quietly confident that if they continue the way they're going, sorry, I was having a little bit of a dance with the DJ then. If they continue this way, that the game is dead and buried. They're not going to be resting on their laurels. They're going to want to execute their skills to perfection. We've only really seen one complete performance from Surrey so far this season, which was a couple of, well, it was back last weekend actually at the here, where they competed well with bat and ball. Since then, they've relied more on their batting. Haven't quite come through the bowling, so today's a really good opportunity to execute with a change of bowler.
Phoebe Franklin into the attack. She starts with a single, pulled out into the leg side. All Surrey bowling changes are powered by SSE Energy Solutions. Step up to the crease. Let's bat for sustainability together. And Franklin, well, she bowled that wonderful maiden over a week or so ago here when opponents had been racing along. She came on in the kind of 10th or 11th over, and out of nowhere bowled a maiden.
Oh!
Through the hands of backward point. It would have been a special catch. Instead, it's 2 more runs to the total for Lancashire. Yeah, that's Farrant there at backward point. See the replay.
Oh, that's an exceptional effort. Unfortunately, can't hold on. That's flown. Excellent reactions there from Farrant. Tips it over the bar.
Crunched out to the boundary for 1 more run from Lancashire, for Lancashire. You do need to just be wary of that run rate. Not even creeping up, surging up. It's now at 10.3. Now, currently trotting along at less than a run a ball. Where are the boundary options for the visiting side? It's hit down towards long on. An interesting change where we see Alice Davidson-Richards now at long on, a position that Paige Scholfield had a monopoly on so far this season. Paige Scholfield now at cover. Don't know how I'd feel about that if I was Paige Scholfield. She'd been fielding there without error. Davidson-Richards has come back and pulled rank. Change up from Phoebe Franklin. Rolls her fingers over that one to deliver a slower ball. Threlkeld just struggling for a little bit of rhythm so far. She's on 4 off 8.
Yeah, I think it's a very prominent role, that long on role for Alice Davidson-Richards. I think Paige Scholfield was on duty in her absence. Oh, that's very well bowled. Slower ball. I think that's fooled everyone.
I think the ball's kind of popped out of Franklin's hands there. It looks like it's going to be a big full toss and then dropped on the batter at the last moment. So another over goes by without a boundary. 8 overs gone here. The score is 45 for 3.
Yeah, just looking at the strike rate of the Surrey batters, every batter struck over 100, with the exception of Rhiannon McDonald-Gay and Tilly Courtine-Coleman. By contrast, this Lancashire batting lineup, only Emma Lamb currently striking at low hundreds and Fee Morris striking dead on 100 before getting out. 3 batters that are no longer with us, striking well below 100.
So, another bowling change for Surrey here. And a display of their luxury of riches. Alice Davidson-Richards is going to enter the attack from the pavilion end. A change of bowler brought to you by SSE Energy Solutions. And that's bunted up to mid-on for no run.
Yeah, this is an interesting move here by Surrey. Alice Davidson-Richards has definitely not been bowling her best this season. Really struggled to find form with ball in hand. Good opportunity here to try and find some. And she's on the money straight away, which is good. I feel like I've said that a lot today, which is something I haven't done in previous games. It's a nice luxury to have.
Really tight line, angling into the right-hander there from ADR.
Bryony Smith captaining from deep third.
Surrey could, if they really wanted, 8 of their 11 today. I believe Bryony Smith hasn't been bowling of late. She's been managing an injury. Sophia Dunkley rolls out some leggies. So that would take you up to 7 and 8. Never seen Paige Scholfield have a bowl. Chipped straight down the ground, and that's 4. A much-needed boundary for Lancashire there. A much-needed boundary for Ellie Threlkeld, who moves on to 9 off 12 now. And could that be the moment she just finds herself moving into 2nd, 3rd and 4th gear and kicking on for her team?
Well, she certainly needs to if this team are going to compete, but that's a really nice strike back over the bowler's head. Just strays in length ever so slightly, and Threlkeld on top of that immediately. Paige Schofield actually used to be a very good bowler for the Stars, but unfortunately had a little bit of a back injury that had to be managed, and hasn't been required with the ball in hand.
That's a wonderful pull shot out to the deep. Fielded on the bounce by Dunkley, so it's just 1 run. That'll be so frustrating for Threlkeld because she's picked that up beautifully well. That single does bring up the Lancashire 50. They move on to 50 for 3 off 8.4.
Yeah, so when we were formerly the Stars, and Darren Stevens was our bowling coach for a while, he coined Paige Sky Scanner for her bowling action. So she had a really big, she'd almost look up at the sky before she delivered the ball.
Single taken into the leg side. Sky Scanner,
Sky Scanner.
Think about the 2 here. Emma Lamb at the non-strike zone. I was trying to work out if there could be some type of bowling action, cheap flight search engine combination happening.
No, she just scanned the sky, I think.
Right, let's see. Let's get.
I used to hate facing Paige. She's a very skiddy bowler. So when she bowled short and you think you could pull it, you couldn't. It's good over this so far from ADR. Finishing well.
Finds the gap. Can they force 2 there? They will be able to get back for 2. Just on the angle. Found that kind of pocket that people refer to in the fields between mid-on and deep mid-wicket. The 9th over comes to an end here at the Kia Oval. Lancashire 53 for 3. That run rate required, look, already creeping up towards 11. I'm Cameron Ponsonby. I'm joined by former Surrey legend. I was going to go captain that time, but you said you've done it 3 times, which counts. That counts.
Yep.
See the fans enjoying their afternoon in the sun. Make sure you behave yourself, guys. Everyone, it's a long day ahead. You've got the men's match after this as well. Always gets me a little bit nervous. You see people out in the sun.
Oh, they've got their sun cream on, enjoying those beverages that I'm sure haven't stayed very cold for very long in this heat.
Grace Harris from the Vauxhall end. That's a lovely shot from Lamb, who's just given herself some room. Will she get 4? Yes. A teaser for the fielder. Had to chase it all the way, but the ball just had the legs, and Lamb moves on to 31.
Yeah, that's a good adjustment there from Lamb, because she actually starts moving outside her off stump, and Harris almost follows her, and instead she finds the gap through that offside where she was looking to target the onside. Just a sign of a player that's in form, even if lacking runs coming into this game.
Lifted into the leg side. It will land safely. A couple of awkward bounces on that square. Never really sure. Well, on the one hand, you're as sure of the bounce as anywhere else on the ground because the pitches are being prepared. On the flip side, you're so used to the ball bouncing on an outfield. When it skips up off that hard surface, it just makes it a little bit more awkward.
So that's the angle that I was wanting Alice Davison-Richards to hit in her batting innings, as that's driven strongly down the ground to long off. So that the previous shot that Emma Lamb has come down the wicket and hit between square leg and mid wicket, they've managed to pick up 2 from. She's found the gap really nicely, whereas striking straight between long on and mid wicket like this, although they've found that gap really well and resulted in 2 runs. I actually think Lancs may have scored more 2s in this innings already than Surrey did in their entire batting innings.
This is where we need our Stato Andrew Sampson on hand.
However, by this point, I think Surrey had already exceeded far beyond the number of boundaries that Lancs have scored.
I do remember interviewing Rovman Powell when he was the West Indies men's captain during a T20 series against England, and he very innocently and genuinely talked about how he was like, well, think about England. Just clipped into the leg side to finish the 10th over of this run chase at the halfway point. Lancashire is 64 for 3. They need 108 off the final 10 overs. Emma Lamb, the crucial wicket, on 35 off 28. The captain is with her, Ellie Threlkeld, on 15 off 16. Yeah, so Robin Powell was explaining to me, the thing about England is they're really good at kind of working the ball around and like getting ones. We're really good at hitting the ball for 6. I was like, well, 6 is more than 1. And so they win more matches. So sorry. You could say the coach could be like, let's turn our 1s into 2s. And Surrey might go, actually, thanks very much. We'll just hit it over the rope and get more runs for our troubles. You see this batting card there for Lancashire. Emma Lamb, the opener, still guiding proceedings. More fans coming in after every over. Phoebe Franklin with her 2nd over. She clips the ball into the leg side. It'll just be 1 run. Emma Lamb, although I do mention that Lancashire have been short of runs, Lamb is just in her 3rd match of the competition after being away with England. So she'll be a massive boost for Lancashire in the back half of this tournament. We're not away with England. India are obviously in town very soon.
That's really well bowled there by Phoebe Franklin. Eyes lit up there from Ellie Threlkeld when she saw the width on offer, but the pace was taken well off the delivery that she was through the shot before she had a chance to adjust. I think the thing is here as well, where Lancs have been really good at running their 2s, you can't be running 2 a ball for 10 overs to try and win the game.
It's a powerful drive up to mid-off. Grace Harris will have a shot at the stumps. Threlkeld will figure she was right to run on the shot, but it wasn't without risk, because Grace Harris picked up the ball cleanly and had a shot at the stumps that almost paid for the Lancashire skipper. Surrey will be happy here. They know that this woman on screen now holds the keys.
Oh.
Steps across her stumps. She's not going to get the wide given in her favour there. She looks longingly at the umpire, pleading, go on, have a stretch, give that a wide. She moved so far across the stumps that umpire Shanmugam decided, nope, that is a dot ball.
No, that's a good decision there from the umpire. Profile wides.
Former Surrey player there, Kirstie White, with that. Lifted up over the offside. There is a gap. It was a deep extra cover in place rather than the traditional deep cover point, which means 2 runs added to the total.
They've just received a message from a friend after that shy at the stumps from Grace Harris, who would like to know what the Grace Harris forearm workout is.
Goodness me.
Well, that might be why she can hit the ball so hard down the ground effortlessly.
They take a run to her again. Well, that time it wasn't a close run thing for Lancashire because Emma Lamb was stranded and out by miles. They keep on taking that risk to Grace Harris, and so far they're getting away with it. 11 overs gone at 69 for 3. But like, you could go up to a, rather than being like 2-8, 2-9, like, what weight's your bat? You kind of go, we have like your forearms.
Yes.
Grace
That's
Harris.
Beach workout.
She was looking fantastic when kind of standing at the crease, and you kind of see her like sleeves hugging her biceps. You think, you can hit the ball a long way. And she does.
Yeah, I imagine Grace Harris would wear a short sleeve even in 12 degrees, you know? The garden show.
No, always the long sleeves for me. Can't hit the ball anywhere and I throw it. Lifted up into the leg side, and Alice Davidson-Richards doesn't even bother looking at it. She just starts running backwards to go and get the ball. Emma Lamb is on a mission here as she moves on to the 40s. And it is now 97 runs to win for Lancashire.
That's a really well-timed shot there. Alice Davidson-Richards thinking, why couldn't I have done that?
Short cut. And that's a good dot for Surrey there.
Yeah, this is excellent intent here from Emma Lamb. So she's 45 from 34, so she's striking well over 100, but she needs the support from Ellie Threlkeld here.
Does she find the gap on this occasion? No. Those 4 Surrey fielders stretching from cover to short third. It just makes it a game of risk-reward for Lancashire. Do you try and pierce the gap and get 4? Do you look to take an easy single in other directions?
That's a really, really well-played shot. Ellie Threlkeld off balance as she strikes it, almost falls over, but gets full value for that shot. Not an easy shot to play at all.
Well, it's an even harder shot to play on 1 foot. Have a look at this. Threlkeld comes down the wicket. They've obviously decided to target Kirstie Coleman here. Looks to go over mid-off. That front foot just gives way as she makes contact, but no bother. It goes all the way for 6.
Almost surprised the standing umpire didn't say, can you just not run up the middle of the wicket, please? That.
You're in
right,
the danger area.
Yeah. What happens here?
She goes again. Kirstie Coleman sees her coming, adjusts her line. It's a dot ball. Yeah. This feels like a bit of a conscious decision from Lancashire here. They know they had to change something. They've attacked the young left arm spinner. Change in the field. Long off drops out. That fielder at cover point comes back in. Threlkeld goes for the sweep. And umpire Robert White is quick to make his decision in the positive or negative by Surrey's opinion. We'll just see the replay here.
Yeah, big step across the line. Bit of desperation with that appeal from Kirstie Coleman. That was an over of 2 halves, really, wasn't it? Hard to tell who won that. I'd probably lean on the side of Lancashire, the 2 6s.
Absolutely, Lancashire will take that over. 2 6s, a couple of singles, so they're above the rate of what they require for the rest of the innings. But it is indicative of just how well these final 8 overs have to go for Lancashire. The required run rate is 11.25. You're always in need of 2 boundaries and over, really, to make that total up. Change of bowling, powered by SSE Energy Solutions. Alice Davidson-Richards back from the pavilion end. Pulled into the leg side. Is the fielder underneath it? No. 1 bounce and 4. And Lancashire are on a bit of a roll here. Is that 50 for Emma Lamb? Yes, it is. The first of the competition for her, and her very fine domestic season continues. She is vital to this run chase for Lancashire, and she's been vital to their fortunes all season. And as long as she's at the crease, do not write off this visiting side.
Yeah, just a slight acknowledgement to the crowd, but work still to be done here from Emma Lamb, and she's fully aware of the situation she finds herself in. So resets, ready for the next 5 deliveries.
She gives herself room, and she finds the angle where no fielder is in place. Here we go, Kirstie. The game is afoot.
Well, before that over started, I was going to say that actually Lancs need 1.87 runs per ball. That's null and void for this over now. So I might just recalculate that. But that's the start, and this is how Lancs need to start their overs. They have to start with boundaries, because if they're trying to claw it back towards the back end, that's when they make reckless decisions and ultimately will lose their wickets. There's a change in the field.
Fine leg has come up into the ring. Long on is out. Emma Lamb swats that into the leg side. It's just 1 run, but it's such a dismissive shot. I'm going to give that a mental victory to the batter. A mental or moral? Both. Why not? Can her skipper go with her, however? So, with Threlkeld not quite the same rhythm as Lamb, Long on now comes back into the ring. Fine legs dropped out, almost encouraging the Lancashire batters to take that risk straight. Into the leg side. Does it find the gap? It does. Just skipping along the square. And it's a 3rd boundary of the over. And this is such a good over for Lancashire.
Yeah, another gift there from Alice Davidson-Richards. She's just not hitting her length here. She's trying to follow the batter, but unfortunately just bowling too short. And Threlkeld on top of that really quickly. Paige Scholfield just going to speak to ADR and just maybe discussing what the plan is.
Well, typically when you have your fielders out square of the wicket in the leg side, it means you can afford to miss short, because the idea is your protection is square rather than straight. Now Long on has dropped out, encouraging ADR to bowl a bit fuller. She bowls a bit fuller, but this time Threlkeld sweeps it, and that fielder had just come up from fine leg, meaning there's no protection down there. This is fantastic batting from Lancashire. 17 runs off the over so far, 1 ball to come.
Yeah, and this is what I love about T20 cricket. In the game can change in 3-4 balls, which it exactly has done here. So where Surrey had been tails up for the last 4-5 overs, actually they've just closed the gap here. They were requiring 90 from 45, I think it was, or just over. And that's just dropped into that mid-wicket gap, and they're pushing for 2, wisely decide against it.
So that's a very good piece of fielding from Danny White-Hodge there, because had Lancashire been able to sneak 2 there, when you're winning both on the power front and the touch front, that's such a mental victory. Let's have a look at Emma Lamb's highlights so far. She started with a beautiful cover drive off the seam of Rhiannon McDonald-Gay and has proceeded to show both power and elegance throughout, lifting the ball into the leg side regularly. Davidson-Richards with no chance on that occasion. Bring up her first 50 of the competition, but absolutely not her first 50 of the year. He's been one of the form players in the country. So, another bowling change. Phoebe Franklin back from the Vauxhall end. All bowling changes powered by SSE Energy Solutions. That single at the end of the over also brought up the Lancashire 100.
Oh, Alice Davison-Richards just caught on her heels there, didn't quite pick up, and that's what I mean about this ground here. It is really difficult to pick the ball up sometimes from the stand. So a white ball into white stands can be really difficult to pick up. I like this move here from Bryony Smith. Phoebe Franklin's been the pick of the bowlers here so far for Surrey, going for 12 from her 2 overs so far. So tightening up at this end would be the plan, with a wicket for the bonus.
Well, really well bowled from Franklin. Lamb's looking to give herself space. The fielders she has out on the offside is deep extra cover. So from kind of a cover point and backwards, they are all in the ring. So in effect, she's looking to bowl really full and straight. Lamb's going to have to manipulate the angle to be able to hit the ball square. That's chipped up in the air. It lands just safe.
Yeah, this is fantastic bowling here from Phoebe, and off the back of that previous over is exactly what Surrey will be hoping for from this over. Franklin at the top of her mark, 3 deliveries to come. Just the 2 runs off the over so far.
Well, Lancashire looking to manipulate that angle, target the square fielders. I don't know if we can get a shot of that. At backward point and cover point, both Tash Farrant and Grace Harris had put their hands up and stayed still as statues afterwards. Holding the position, they thought they were ready for the ball to come flying towards them. Out. Fantastic work behind the stumps from Kira Chatley and a vital breakthrough for Surrey. That ball snuck between bat and pad. Chatley is up to the stumps off the seam of Phoebe Franklin. And that is a vital wicket, and a wicket born of some very smart work from Kira Chatley.
Yeah, this is exactly what Bryony Smith would have been asking for when she tossed the ball to Phoebe Franklin at the start of this over, off the back of that ADR over that went for 18. Just the 2 runs in the over so far. Threlkeld was starting to get going, so she'll be gutted that she's had to leave. Great take there from Kira Chatley, almost non-sighted, picking that ball up. Easy stumping in the end, but she's got to gather the ball first.
That is seriously fast hands and seriously smart hands from the Surrey vice-captain. Well, I don't know if she's still the vice-captain with Tash back in the team. She did take the reins for a few games earlier this season.
Yeah, I think Tash Farrant might be the official vice-captain.
The spiritual vice-captain.
Spiritual.
Right.
And the cultural architect.
Lisa Lister comes to the crease. While it's a big wicket for Surrey, with Emma Lamb still at the crease, they will be feeling like they still absolutely have a chance. And Phoebe Franklin very quietly has figures of 1 for 13 off 2.5. She's been so crucial to this bowling innings. And another dot ball to finish. That is a mighty fine over from Phoebe Franklin. The previous 2 overs went for 31 runs between them. The tide just seemed to be turning in Lancashire's favour. But Phoebe Franklin applies a handbrake turn, and Surrey are now back on top. It's 70 to win off 36 balls. The score is 102 for 4 after 14 overs.
The only thing missing from that over at the end was a big round of applause from the crowd. I'd have liked to have heard them get behind that Surrey bowler for that performance. Maybe a little bit of sunshine, the chill from Bob Marley in the background.
I do enjoy that. I enjoy it when people always refer to the knowledgeable crowd of X location. And the kind of the chaos in me always wants someone to refer to the unknowledgeable crowd of whichever the place. But I would never dream of saying such a thing about the Kia over, where everyone is such an intelligent crowd here. Tash Farrant into the attack. Bowling changes powered by SSE Energy Solutions.
Picking right back up where Phoebe Franklin left off. Also 2 overs, none for 12 currently. So if you thought Phoebe Franklin was danger, you've now thrown Tash Farrant into the mix. And Lancs might be thinking here, where are we scoring our boundaries? Current rate required is now at 2 a ball.
Lamb goes offside, and this will be a chase for Surrey fielders. The ball's going to be quick over that outfield. Phoebe Franklin does really well. She's putting her body on the line there. Well, is it a run out? Yes! Between the two of them, they have manufactured a run out of nothing there. Phoebe Franklin first saving the boundary. Rhiannon McDonald-Gay had set off with her. Between the two of them, they got the throw back in, and as Lancashire went for 3, Kira Chatley was quick to whip the bails off. And I tell you who'll be delighted with that wicket. Surrey coach Johan Myberg, because that was dedication to the cause on display from everyone.
Yeah, Surrey fielders living their values here, being brave and putting their bodies on the line. Not a great decision there really from Lister. Looking for the 3rd, but actually if they'd taken 2 and kept Lamb on strike, who's faced the majority of the balls and was looking good and strong, she's now stranded at the other end. Lister sets off quickly. Very comfortable 2. There's no indecision there, but just not quick enough in the end. That gun arm from Rhiannon McDonald-Gay. Excellent throw as well. She's had to do a little bit of a chase after Phoebe Franklin's tumbled over the boundary to hook it back in. Right on the money, as Surrey have been all day.
Well, I think Phoebe Franklin deserves a lot of credit there, because not only has she saved 4, but she's dived across the bowling ends of the practice wickets, and that hurts. Those are not soft surfaces. She'll have a graze or 2 for her troubles, but she also has a wicket as her reward. Alana King to face her first ball. It's a beautiful way to get off the mark. Strokes the ball up to deep extra cover.
I'm sure Phoebe Franklin will be fine. I think they've got about 2 weeks off after this. A little bit of a break. She can rest up and recover, get some Sudocrem on the scabs.
I reopened a very old wound over the weekend. It's really, really upset me. So I really felt for Phoebe Franklin when I saw her diving there. Lamb, has she found the gap? I think she has. Yes. 4 more. They just keep ticking along, Lancashire. Just when Surrey think they've broken the back of this team, Lancashire come back with a boundary.
Yes. She's just began to find those gaps more frequently now, which is something Surrey didn't do too well in their batting innings. They couldn't quite pierce the gaps and pick up those boundaries towards the back end.
Short, pulls, will just be 1. I think Farrant's just got away with that one.
Had a slight welfare concern for the pigeons then, but it went a little bit to the left of them. No pigeons have been harmed.
Of course, had England's Matthew Potts bringing a pigeon back to life here at the ODI a few weeks ago.
Yeah, Dr. Doolittle.
That's really well bowled. Change up from Farrant, straight, pace off, forcing Emma Lamb to do something with it. She decides against it. 15 overs gone, 5 overs left in this encounter. The score's 110 for 5. You're watching the Surrey live stream. I'm Cameron Ponsonby. I'm joined by former Surrey player Kirstie White. Emma Lamb and Alana King at the crease. 2 internationals. Can they take Lancashire home? They're currently 3 wins out of 6 against Surrey, who are top of the table. 6 wins out of 7. We're going to see a bowling change powered by SSE Energy Solutions. Get the whole team involved and score big with sustainable energy solutions. 2 overs bowled from McDonald-Gay so far, 1 for 12.
Lancs need a big over here. They really need to close this gap if they're going to be in with a chance of coming anywhere near winning this game. And it all falls on Emma Lamb's shoulders, unfortunately.
Lamb just bunts the ball up to long on. Alana King sets off quickly. Just be 1 run.
Interested to see if Surrey attack Alana King here and try and keep her on strike. Lancashire were very good at this. They put pressure on the new bats and they had a mid-wicket in play, so they weren't scoring any runs in the ring very easy. Surrey opting to avoid that.
Well, that's quick from McDonald-Gay. Almost sneaks under the bat from King.
Yeah, McDonald Gay has that because she doesn't have a tall in her takeoff. She's not very high, so she kind of shoots on and she bowls a heavy ball that can sometimes get under the bat. It makes it really hard to get under. So she does take, when she's not taking the poles out of the ground, she will take quite a few wickets caught, particularly in front and in the V, where players have tried to get underneath her.
Well, a little bit like that. Ball sneaks underneath the bat of King and almost clatters into off stump.
If I'm Alana King here, I'm setting up with both feet inside the crease, on off stump, and saying that gap between mid-wicket and square and between long on and mid-wicket, I'm targeting.
She powered. Well, she takes a big step into her crease, pretty much setting up as you illustrated. As a wild swing, finds Danny White-Hodge at deep extra cover. It's just one run.
It's like she's hit that and it's gone right off the tee with the driver.
You a golfer?
Absolutely not. I've played one round of 18 holes once with ADR and Johan Myberg, seasoned golfers, and it was the worst day of my entire life.
Or Lamb goes to paddle it, succeeds only in helping the ball onto her stumps, and Surrey will think that is the match. Lamb batted fantastically well for her 64 off 46 balls, but her departure means that Lancashire now needs 60 off just 25. They're 6 wickets down.
Yeah, I think Lamb's had her hand forced a little bit there. She's really struggling to be effective on strike. Tried to get across and under, but as we said a few deliveries ago, she's such a skiddy bowler that actually she's really hard to get the elevation underneath. So had she even made that connection, the likelihood of that then being caught at fine was very high. So good wicket there for McDonald Gay. Lancs find themselves 6 wickets down, requiring 60 from 25 balls.
It was a really unusual method that Lamb used to get into the position to kind of lap there. You often see players kind of maybe backing away or like switching their feet so they're square. Lamb started by walking down the wicket and then swung her back foot around. I'm not saying that was what contributed to her demise, but I haven't seen it too often. Right, it's Kate Cross at the crease, so we've still got 3 internationals at play in the middle. She almost looks for a quick run, but McDonald Gay is on the case. And well, we talk about all these Surrey bowlers having fine bowling figures. McDonald Gay is another one you can add to that list. 3 overs bowled, 2 for 14, 16 overs gone. The score is 112 for 6.
Phoebe Franklin returning from the pavilion end, looking to pick up where McDonald Gay's left off and her exceptional bowling figures. Her own figures are not something to look away from.
So Phoebe Franklin to finish off her afternoon's work. She's 1 for 13 off her 3 so far. That will ruin them a little bit. 4 runs. King throws her hands through some width and picks up a boundary. Well, they need 15 runs and over, and that helps. That's 4 off 1 ball.
Yeah, I'd like to see Lancs really just be aggressive, ultra aggressive here. Straying in her line, probably for the first time today. She's got away with it where she's bowled those slower balls, but this was pace on delivery. It's almost shaped away a little bit, actually, from the batter.
Well, that's hit up into the air and caught. Simple catch, Paige Scholfield.
Slight delayed reaction there from both the fielders deciding who was going to go and catch the ball. Bit of a false start. It was almost like a Looney Tunes start there, where they were running on the spot and then going to gather the ball, but Paige Scholfield gathers that in those big buckets. Alana King is on her way back to the pavilion.
Well, it's not the best ball that Phoebe Franklin will ever bowl. Short of the length and wide, and Alana King was trying to belt it back over the bowler's head. The pace off, a bit of a change up. Sees the ball take the top edge. Paige Scholfield the ever safe hands of Paige Scholfield. I'm still angry she's been demoted from long on. Return of Alice Davidson-Richards. But you can't win them all. She did, however, win on that occasion. So the 7th Lancashire wicket falls. It's now Tara Norris and Kate Cross in the middle.
It's funny, you say demoted, I think promoted back to extra cover.
I don't know. Long on's such a cool fielding position in T20.
Okay, so you're on about credibility rather than
It's the hot
fielding
spots.
prowess.
Exactly. Cover was the kind of top of the tree 20 years ago. Now we're all about hot spots.
Not tumbles.
Norris has kind of driven that ball into the ground and managed to make its way all of 10 yards into the offside.
Just 3 deliveries to come here for Phoebe Franklin.
Another almost slice from Norris there. It was spinning off her bat into the hands of Grace Harris on the bounce.
Yeah, Phoebe Franklin just managed to get in the ball to hold in the surface a little bit. Meaning Tara Norris is finding it hard to time these shots. She's only been at the crease for 2 deliveries. She hasn't got a lot of time to rack up some runs.
She lifts that into the leg side. Doesn't get enough of it to trouble the fielders. She is able to scamper back for 2 runs. So Phoebe Franklin to finish off her afternoon spell of bowling. 2 for 19 off 3.5 so far. And it was her 3rd over that really changed the course of this run chase. Lancashire just between Ellie Threlkeld and Emma Lamb hit the turbochargers, but Phoebe Franklin put the brakes on. That's lifted up towards long on, and she might finish with the wicket. She does indeed. Comfortably held by Tash Farrant, and a deserved 3rd wicket for Phoebe Franklin. And if it wasn't curtains for Lancashire already, it is now 118 for 8. They need 54 off the final 3 overs, and it's been a fantastic bowling display from Phoebe Franklin.
Yeah, and with that, that gives Surrey 18 balls to pick up a bonus point for bowling. If they manage to bowl Lancashire out for 136 or lower, they will pick up that bonus point. So it's 4 for a win, 5 with the bonus point. Let's watch that back.
Lifted the ball up towards long on. Farrant settled underneath it. It was a comfortable catch.
Yeah, very well gathered there by Tash Farrant. Superb spell by Phoebe Franklin, instrumental in the bowling success today of this Surrey team. Seamers for the win today.
There was a lovely shot there, Farrant taking the catch. Saw her walking in and all her teammates waiting for the confirmation that the ball was held, and you see 3 sets of pans shooting up to the sky to break into a round of applause. McDonald Gay. Well, that's out as well. Paige Scholfield, we spoke about how good she is in the field, and she further proves it there. And a 9th wicket now falls for Lancashire. 2 and 2 for Surrey. And they're on a rampage.
Yeah, Cross has absolutely nailed that, but unfortunately she's nailed it straight to the fielder. Not an easy catch. Low at the shins, moving forward, slightly diving forward there, which is some of the worst catches to have to take. But Paige Scholfield does the work, and that leaves Surrey requiring 1 more wicket for the win with a bonus point.
I will see the replay here. McDonald Gay into Cross, who laces it up to mid-off. And that catch may look simple, but don't be deceived. That's dipping on Scholfield late, and you're having to gauge whether that ball's coming to you on the full. Do you have to dive forward? Can you hold your position? Scholfield makes it look easy.
And do I have a good dentist if this goes wrong?
So Sophie Morris, who started us off today, opened the bowling for Lancashire. She went for a boundary off her first delivery, but clean bowled Bryony Smith off her second. She's in at 11.
Just had the 5 overs of spin today. Seam has done the bulk of the load. To great effect here for Surrey.
Well, it shows the versatility of this bowling attack, because yesterday at the Utility Bowl, it was the other way round. It was spin dominating. Danny Gregory opened the bowling. Today, Tash Farrant, the seamer, comes back in for the spinner of Gregory. Morris hops onto the back foot, defends McDonald Gay well into the offside.
Yeah, really well bowled. Striking through the crease with great confidence, and it's shown in the pace that she's sending the ball down to the batter's end, Rhiannon McDonald Gay.
Bowled. And that's it for Surrey. The victory, a bonus point 1 at that, is confirmed. Lancashire 118 all out. A 4th wicket for Rhiannon McDonald Gay, and it's been a very professional performance from Surrey. We're on the back foot in the early stages of this match, sunk to 17 for 3, but Grace Harris and Paige Scholfield lifted them out of a hole with the bat, and then the seamers have stolen the show with the ball. 4 wickets for Rhiannon McDonald Gay, 3 wickets for Phoebe Franklin, and all in all, it's been a fine display from the team that are top of the table, and they've looked full value for it.
Yeah, gun barrel straight there from Rhiannon McDonald Gay. Sends middle stub, cartwheeling. Great end to the game. Fantastic figures from her 3.3 overs, 4 for 14.
So Surrey's fantastic vitality blast continues. An ever satisfying case of winning 2-2 for them. They played yesterday away to Hampshire, where they won off the final ball. A bit more comfortable of a victory here today at the Kia Oval in the first of our 2 matches here this afternoon, with the men set to take on Sussex later on today. You see there in your pictures, they're walking off, conducting the post-match handshakes. It takes Surrey to 7 wins out of 8. The batting card for Lancashire, well, it was a 2-woman show for the most part. Emma Lamb with 64, Ellie Threlkeld on 32, but no other batter managed to make it to double figures. And this is why, because the bowling figures from Surrey were spectacular. Keep an eye out there for Rhiannon McDonald Gay and Phoebe Franklin. 4 for 14 for McDonald Gay, an economy rate of just 4 and over, and Phoebe Franklin with 3 for 19 from her 4. Phoebe Franklin having quietly a very productive season for Surrey this year, contributing in the key moments across the season. And that's the match summary. Surrey 171 for 9, Lancashire 118. Surrey win by 53 runs. I believe, well, don't go anywhere for too long, because we'll be back with the men's match starting at 6 p.m. For now, thank you very much.
After her brilliant bowling performance, it's my pleasure to be joined by player of the match, Rhianna McDonald-Gay. Rhianna, what a fantastic performance with the ball from you.
Yeah, it was a brilliant day. I think the girls did really well. We put on a good total. We got 170, which was really good, and we just knew that we had to do our part and defend the score.
A few nerves flying around when Emma Lamb was going like that. One stage there was a couple of big overs, but I guess you guys know how to bowl as a unit, and Bryony very good at getting the moments right in terms of who comes on when.
Yeah, definitely. I think Lammy batted brilliantly. Like, she definitely used her shots to her advantage. She played the pitch beautifully. So I think, yeah, credit to her. She did really, really well. But I think Phoebe really bowled well today. She bowled really tight, made it really difficult to score, and then everyone around her bowled really nicely in the partnerships.
It was interesting that in both innings, the power play actually seemed to be in favour of the bowlers. Was there any discussion as to why that might be? Was the ball doing a bit early on?
Not really. I think it was a bit of a different wicket, but I think batters took a bit of time to get used to it. But I think, everyone played it really well.
And a word for Paige and for Grace, a really big partnership there when things could have gone wrong at 3 wickets down.
Yeah, definitely. They built it back really nicely. I think they set a really good platform and foundation for everyone to bat around them. So I think, yeah, their scores were definitely really added to the score.
And you're making a real name for yourself as a death bowler, as well as throughout the innings. But what is it about death bowling that you enjoy, and what are you trying to do to be so effective?
Yeah, I definitely enjoy the challenge. It's really difficult to bowl at the death, sort of trying to bluff the batters and try and figure out what they're trying to do. But I think having clarity on what your game plan is how it's best to go about it.
Well, you certainly did that today. Rhianna McDonald-Gay, our player of the match. Well bowled. Thanks, Ray.